some quick announcement. Meeting along with the chat box contents is being recorded. I request all the participants to please keep your microphone muted throughout the lecture. Following the lecture, there will be a question answer and discussion session. Now I request Mr. Sagar to give the welcome address. Over to you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Dipanjan.
Dipanjan.
So, Dr. Murari P is a professional in the field of library and information sciences, providing information services to academics and researchers for about last 50 years. He is invited to deliver talks on the area that are of interest to researchers, especially on research ethics and research methodology, and to the professionals in information sciences. He was associated with the CSIR National Institute of Oceanography, Goa for about 34 years and thereafter with Goa University for about 6 years. Therefore, he had an opportunity to closely interact with academics and researchers, understanding their needs and find adequate solution to meet those. Besides standard library and information services, he acquired vast experience in institutional information handling and dissemination. With a master degree in science, documentation and information sciences, and a PhD in scientometrics, he developed an interest in applying those techniques in areas such as information handling and research productivity measurement. With that National Institute of Oceanography, he was also associated with the activities of UN organizations such as Food and Agricultural Organization and Intergovernmental Oceanography Commission of UNESCO for several years for the development of marine sciences databases and guided in orientation programs and interacted with the international community. As a post-retirement activity, he continues to share his experiences in invited talks via consultant, writes a blog in Marathi on research achievement of Indian laboratories, and is a freelancer translator for the English Marathi language pair. He has been honored by conferring the Best Librarian Award of 2013 by Government of Goa. With this, I would also like to welcome Professor Goshi Tharagan, Dean of School of Sanskrit, Philosophy and Indic Studies, and all the faculty members and research scholars and students at Goa universities, and all the participants from Goa University and outside Goa University. Please, sir.
Right. I just need a clarification. Do we have a break or we have continuous session?
Dr. Tapaswi, we don't have a break plan, but if you would like to at some point, please just let us know.
Okay. Fine. Thanks. Let's see how it goes. Right. Thank you very much for inviting me for this particular program. I have actually made presentations of this particular topic at several different places. So I'm sure some of the participants might have heard me as well on this topic. Of course, there are always some slides are updated, and then some slides, since this is for the the researchers in the philosophy and Indic Studies, so it's oriented towards that little bit, the real examples that I'm trying to quote from there. So that's something new. That's it. Good afternoon to you all participants. And then I would like to switch off my camera for a better bandwidth. Please allow me. I have. I'm moving on my slide presentation. Is my slide seen? Is that okay?
Yes, Dr. Tapaswi. It is visible.
It is visible.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Yes. So this is about the selection of a journal for research publication. You might say that what is so great about it, because you are aware about the UGC-CARE list. So go to the UGC-CARE list and then select one of the journals from there. that are close to your area of studies, and then that's it, isn't it? Yeah, true. I do agree with you. However, there are some issues. There are some issues, and I'm going to share the experiences that I had with the UGC-CARE list with you on those specific issues, like the items that are not a part of UGC-CARE list, but still in the Group 2 list. Okay, I'm sure every one of you have visited UGC-CARE list. The UGC-CARE list consists of Group 1 and Group 2. Group 2 is an international what you call sources monitoring list, whereas Group 1 is actually a list that is monitored by UGC-CARE Secretariat. Okay, there are some dynamic issues that exist. The journals get added, journals get removed. So, how do you decide which journal should you publish in? So that is what I'm going to share my ideas with you. Then, which of the lists suits best for your discipline? Um, Actually, if I go into the past, before UGC-CARE list, there was a UGC list of journals. Okay, that list came in place somewhere in the 2017, and those days, as soon as the list appeared, there was a big hue and cry from the uh, researchers in the field of humanities and literature and languages. That's because that list, the old UGC list, had just reproduced the journals that are being monitored by the citation databases, international citation databases like Web of Science and Scopus. Okay, and then naturally the disciplines like Indian humanities disciplines or the literature and linguistics, the regional, especially regional languages, had an issue because they had little or no journals over the Group 2 lists. Okay, so then finally the UGC realized that, and they opened up the window. They said that, okay, here is a criteria, and then you suggest a journal, we will add it. And it was specifically for the researchers from the field of humanities and linguistics. But then everyone started sending suggestions to add a new journal, and without what you call assessing on the criteria, the journals were added there straight away. Okay, and then there was an issue. One research paper was then published on the kind of journals that existed on that list, and over 1,000 journals they identified were of predatory nature. So then the UGC list had a very bad name, and then they just closed that list, and then they gave the responsibility to the University of Pune, from where the paper on the UGC list was published in Current Science. And they said, okay, yeah, it is you now take care and then you monitor it. And that's how, in the mid of 2019, the UGC-CARE list has come up, and that is being monitored from University of Pune. My experience in last few years, there are about now 5 years or so, they have been monitoring it very well. They are very careful about adding a new journal. And in recent past, I also noticed that they are also pruning what they had added in Group 1 list as such. And they are trying to, what you call, help the users as much as they can. Okay. The UGC-CARE, the UGC, of course, University Grants Commission. CARE stands for the Consortium of Academic Research and Ethics, and that's how this is one of their activities as such. But then this is the main activity, right? So that's what I'm going to speak about. with this background of the UGC-CARE list. Which of the lists suit best to your discipline? That's where the background I started telling you on this. There are additional parameters that I felt that the researchers should consider for selection of a journal from the list as such. Then I would speak a little bit on the open access journals, and then I would then come down to the real examples of the predatory and clone journals, and how do you distance yourself from those journals as such. You know, the predatory and clone journals are offshoots of the open access journals movement. Okay, and yes, open access journals are really good, no doubt about it. However, the kind of predatory and clone journals that are being born even today, one has to be extremely careful, and that's what I'm going to highlight with the real examples over here. Um, Let me start with the research process. Okay, the research process where you identify a problem. The first is this: you identify a research problem by looking into the earlier published literature. You review that, and then you start collecting data on a problem or the gap that you have identified in your area of knowledge, and then you do the analysis work, and then finally you reach to the writing stage. And then once your rough manuscript is ready, probably you would look for a journal in which you would like to publish it. The journal, you will send that manuscript to that particular journal, maybe that it would undergo some revisions, and then finally the paper would get published. However, the research process doesn't stop here. Okay, the research process continues and continues, and then the main component of the research process, that's the literature review. That is something that is a lifetime activity for a researcher, actually. Okay, because in parallel to your what you call uh, working, doing the research, there are other researchers who are also in the field, and they are also on the job. Okay, so you should know what's being published by them as such. Okay, I just mentioned over here as prerequisites. Okay, yes, I can tell you theoretically how do you select a journal, the best journal in your field of knowledge, and so on and so forth. However, if you aim for a best journal or even a good journal within your field, your manuscript should have a good content. Okay, it should have a good data. The analysis should be done, and the expression of ideas in logical order is something that I notice that we Indians lack a lot. Okay, especially we don't have our mastery over the English, and that's the language, the lingua franca for the research activities largely world over. And we write our research papers in English only, and therefore this is something that matters a lot. Okay, so this is something that is required in the beginning, and I called it prerequisites as such. Okay, I'm sure you have reached to the UGC-CARE list, UGC-CARE website. The address of the UGC-CARE website is on the bottom of this particular slide. In case if you are not reached, you can certainly log into that. However, to log in, you require a registration. Registration is of course free. It doesn't cost you anything, but then they want to check the legitimacy of the person who is visiting the list as such. Okay, so that's why the registration is required, and every time when you log in, you require to provide your authentication as such. Okay, now on this particular slide, I have copied the two columns from the right. Okay, there are three columns actually, but then I copied two columns from the right that are there on the home page of UGC-CARE whole website. Okay, in my slides, for a purpose of brevity, I just titled UGC Care as care list. Please consider that. That means I mean UGC Care List, right? Okay. So on the rightmost side, what you see is a UGC Care List group to journals. Okay, and they provide links. Sorry, they provide links to those international citation databases, Web of Science and Scopus. It is believed that these two citation databases are very choosy in selecting a journal for their monitoring lists as such. It is no doubt, in a way, this argument is right. But when we look into the lists, we really have doubt whether that's true or otherwise. Okay, I mean that's. I will show you some examples, and then you can make a decision on that. Okay, but then yes, by and large, because there are several thousand journals getting published all over the world in several different disciplines. So how do you come? How do you arrive at a legitimate journal? And yes, we have to bank upon some good sources, and therefore there is nothing wrong. And it is, I would not just say nothing wrong, but I would say, yeah, this is one of the best ways that, yeah, you identify the good journal sources as such. So the Web of Science and Scopus. These are the two citation databases. Both citation databases are published by commercial publishers. Okay, Web of Science is a quite old database. It started its publication somewhere in the 60s. Okay, 1964 is the first year, and during which Web of Science started publishing the Science Citation Index. Okay, they were extremely choosy in selecting a journal for their monitoring list until the year 2004. In this year, the Scopus was born. Okay, the Scopus is a database published by another giant publisher, the Elsevier. Okay, and the Scopus came up with what you call the journals being monitored from 17,000 what you call titles. Okay, where at that particular time, Web of Science had just around 3,500 titles being monitored. Now, when there is a competitor, naturally, in order to stay in the market, Web of Science had to what you call dilute their selection criteria, I would put it that way, and add more journals. And then there is a great competition that continues today even. Okay, today Web of Science has something around 17,000 journals, and the Scopus has something around 26,000 journals as such. So that's something the group two lists. Okay, there is a third list which is called MLA, the Modern Language Association list. This is especially meant for those researchers in the field of linguistics, and I guess from among this audience, there are no linguistic, the people, researchers in the field of languages and literature as such. So I won't be speaking on the MLA lists as such. Right. So this, and then what the UGC-CARE themselves say is this, that large number of the journals that are being monitored by the Modern Language Association, MLA, are part of the Web of Science or Scopus. Okay, so even those who are from linguistics areas, they don't have to care that to consult MLA list. They can straightway go to the Scopus or Web of Science and then select a journal over there. So this is the group two list, and then the links that are there, they are just kept what you call as links only. Okay, the UGC-CARE doesn't monitor, or I mean they make any changes to their lists. Okay, once you click on one of these links, you would be straightway reaching to those specific databases, and then you can search on those, right? So that's what is group 2. On the left side of this particular slide, okay, I have another column which is in the middle of the home page of the UGC Care, is the search page, quick search for the UGC Care Group 1 list. Okay, and then you can have a drop down there to select whether you would like to select a key, what you call journal from the title or from language or a publisher and so on and so forth. And then you type a keyword and the down box there, and then click on the search button. That's what it is suggested as such. However, I would suggest that in case if you are interested in selecting a journal from group 1 list, you can click on the top link, and then you will reach to the group 1 search page as such, and that has more features and facilities there. I have this current print on one of my slides there. Okay, so this is the home page of the UGC-CARE list. Now let's start with the group 2 part. Okay, the whatever the journals that are there in the group 2 list. Let me speak first on that. See, at large number of times, even me, I would keep on saying that these are the journals, and so on and so forth. Okay, even the UGC-CARE also said there, it starts with the sentence, these journals are part of UGC-CARE list as group 2. Okay, but then you must mind it that all of those atoms are not journals alone. There are non-journals atoms that exist. I'm going to show you what you call some small exercise that I did to find out what is how many items are there in the Scopus list. But then, of course, majority of them are journals, no doubt. This why everyone says and speaks about journals here. It's because these citation databases, especially Web of Science in their old times, were strictly adhering to and confining to only and only journals. However, today they have opened the non-journal items also for monitoring, and they are there. But then you must be careful that you will not select the non-journal item to publish your article in that. Okay, in case if you want to get it published from the recognized UGC-CARE list of journals, because UGC-CARE list is only concerned to recommend journals alone and not non-journal items. They are silent on non-journal items at all, right? That's one thing. The second thing that I must mention over here is this, that there are 3 links under the heading Web of Science. The first one is Arts and Humanities Citation Index. The second one is Science Citation Index Expanded. And the third one is Social Science Citation Index. Now, whichever the link that you click over here, you will finally land on a page of the publisher of the Web of Science, and the page is called Master Journal List. Okay, MLA. Okay, MJL. Okay, that is what is the page wherein there is a search box. I have it on the next slide, and then you can start searching. But if that is the case, why the Web of Science is grouped into these 3 citation indexes or citation databases as such? Remember one thing, that when the UGC-CARE list came in being somewhere in mid-2019, Web of Science had 3 different files for the journals being monitored for these 3 citation indexes, okay, for Arts and Humanities, Sciences, and Social Sciences. Okay, but today they clubbed not only these 3 citation database journals monitoring lists, but they have added other what you call indices that they publish. Okay, so you're required to be careful. I'm going to show you on that. Especially there is a they call core collection. Okay, they call core collection, and the 4th atom in this is the emerging sources citation index. And you have to be careful that emerging sources citation index is not a part of UGC-CARE list. So if you find a journal in the emerging sources citation index, you should not consider that for publication of your article as such, right? So that is what is another important thing. All right. Now, once you click on any one of these three links under the Web of Science, okay, on any of these three links of the Web of Science, you will land, as I mentioned, on the master journal list. Okay. Don't want to go via UGC-CARE list. Yeah, here the bottom of this slide there is a link, and then you can straightway reach over there. It is not necessary that you should always go from UGC-CARE page to this particular list as such. Okay, and there is a text box there, like a Google search engine. You can type a keyword and then click on the search journals, and then the journals with that particular keyword get retrieved. You see now it is telling you that what all master journal list consists of. Okay, in the paragraph mentioned above, it's a Web of Science core collection, that is those three databases, plus emerging sources citation index, plus biological abstracts, biosys, zoological, so many things. Okay, so that's what it is. Therefore, you have to be careful. Now let's move on. I search, for example, on this search sheet for the word philosophy, and the number of atoms that were retrieved are something 725. You see, you see that under the search results there are 725 retrieved, and those atoms are listed over here. Okay, sorry. What is that? I have picked up couple of those journal titles from there. Okay, just to highlight you the difference, right? See, the first journal on the top, that is the philosophy, published by Cambridge University Press. You see, the details are given, the ISSN number, and then the next important thing is which part of the core collection of Web of Science this journal is being monitored for. And it says that yes, it is for the Arts and Humanities Citation Index. And Arts and Humanities Citation Index is a part of UGC-CARE list. So you are safe to publish your article in the journal Philosophy. Okay, you can submit your manuscript to Philosophy straight away, and then yeah, you can publish it over there. So, but then the next what you call screenshot I have down after the Philosophy, the second journal that on this particular page. I just copied this. It is not in that order. Okay, but then the second journal that I'm showing you down there, Open Philosophy. Okay, it's published by D. Greuter from Poland or so. Yeah, and then it is actually a part of Emerging Sources Citation Index. It is still not gone to one of those three citation indexes that Web of Science is monitoring. Okay, I mean the UGC-CARE list has been monitoring. Okay, so please be careful. Please be careful that you do not select a journal that is not being monitored by one of those three citation indices, right? So now, as a quick shortcut, what should you do? On the left hand side of your what you call this retrieval, you will find the filters column. Okay, and where in the top area you will get the core collection. Okay, just click that. Okay, just click that, and then check in the three check boxes, the Science Citation Index, Social Science Citation Index, and Arts and Humanities Citation Index. If you are very particular that yes, you belong to the philosophy discipline, yeah, you can just click on Arts and Humanities Citation Index, and that should suffice. In fact, I guess so. maybe probably some journals of philosophy will also be being monitored on the social sciences citation index, but then large number of journals would be there in arts and humanities as such, right? But then these are the three citation indices that are being monitored, that are approved by UGC-CARE List. So once you click this and then you apply this filter, then the list on the right hand side would get reduced. Then the open philosophy title will disappear because you have not selected the emerging sources citation index on the left. Okay, so it will disappear. Okay, you are then less bothered whether a particular journal is a part of UGC care list or not. Okay, that's what I thought that I would mention about that. Right, I also mentioned you that there are several sources that are part of this master journal list, which are listed down there on this filters list on the right hand side. Yeah, I'm again stressing on the point that the UGC care list only and only approves those journals that are part of these three citation indexes. Okay, arts and humanities, social sciences, and science citation index. Okay, only that. Emerging sources citation index is not a part of UGC care list. Okay, now let me tell you one thing, which is a very good thing about the Web of Science as such. See, if Web of Science finds a journal worth including to their citation database, then it first parks that journal under emerging sources citation index. Okay, and it starts monitoring that journal. It starts adding the what you call articles to the database while it is there in the emerging sources citation index. But side by side, for a year or two or at times more, it checks the quality of that particular journal, and in case if they find the journal worth monitoring and sustainable, they would then move that journal from emerging sources citation index to at least one of these three citation databases, that the arts and humanities, social sciences, and science citation. Okay, roughly, Web of Science says that around 10% of the journals every year are moved from emerging sources citation index to these three databases as such, and not much. So I like this process very much. I like this process very much. In case if they don't find the journal worth adding to the citation index of these three citation indices of the core collection, they will drop the journal from emerging sources citation index itself. Okay, so the number of journals that get discontinued from these three citation indices are minimal as such. Okay, we'll speak more on this when we compare the Web of Science database with the Scopus as such, right? So that is very important. While I was working in Goa University, there was a discussion, and then there was an argument rather that whether the emerging sources citation index is a part of UGC-CARE list or not. Okay, so finally I wrote to the secretariat of the UGC-CARE, and then the person responsible over there, she responded saying that no, emerging sources citation index journals are not included in UGC-CARE list. So this is one more confirmation from UGC-CARE that the emerging sources citation index is not a part of UGC-CARE list, and you should not select a journal from there, right? Okay, now the next thing that comes in is this. Let me come back to this screen. See, Web of Science, it lists out the journal that are being monitored on this particular page. But see, even when we search on philosophy, we found something around 700 and odd titles. Now you want to select one journal from all this, and then suppose you would like to select the journal based on its quality. Okay, so how do you do that? Yeah, unfortunately, Web of Science do not reveal the quality of a particular journal on their list as such, okay, which is a bad thing as compared to the Scopus. Okay, that's what is. But then what Web of Science does is they produce a document every year. It's called Journal Citation Reports, JCR. Okay, it's a prize document, and it tells us the impact factor of a journal that is monitored by the Web of Science core collections as such. Okay, so even today, earlier, the impact factor was only available for science citation index and social science citation index journals, but today, rather to be very specific, from last year onwards, 2023 onwards, you have an impact factor for the journals, roughly 1,300 journals that are monitored from arts and humanities citation index. Okay, so that's something, a wonderful thing. I'm pretty sure you are aware about the impact factor, and this is the kind of document that would be available. The document is available online. You can also have download that data and then generate a PDF file or an Excel sheet, the spreadsheet, and then that is, you consult it further. Okay, so the more information about this JCR, Journal Citation Report, is available on the link that I have provided on this particular slide. Okay, I especially bring your attention to two columns that exist over there, the one that are marked by red squares. Okay, one is the impact factor, and the second one is the quartile. Okay, these are the two what you call quality criteria that we should hang upon. Okay, but now let me tell you that how do you get an access to the JCR, Journal Citation Reports? For a researcher the researcher normally uses a loose term for this JCR, is an impact factor list. Okay, that's the large number of researchers know this document by name impact factor list, because it provides an impact factor for a given journal. Okay, it is the journal, this particular what you call document JCR is the heavy subscription. It is something around $6,000 a year are to be paid for having access to that particular item, and then unfortunately it's not what you call financially viable for even moderately rich what you call libraries as such. Okay, so what do we do? Yes, as I mentioned you, that those who have an access to this kind of document, they download it as a spreadsheet in an Excel file or in PDF file, and then they upload it somewhere on the internet. Okay, and then that list gets circulated among the researchers. Finally, if you search somewhere on internet, probably you may get this particular list in your hand from some source, or maybe probably if you ask your colleague abroad, in Europe or America, probably your colleague, if they have an access to this, they would download and send it. That's possible. But then, mind it well that that's not an original list. If some persons who have downloaded this and then uploaded it somewhere for free access on internet, if at all they have changed the impact factor of the journal, you require to double check that. Okay, that's very important, right? I'm sure you are aware of the term impact factor. It is a transparent formula that was also what you call established in the 1964 itself. by the publishers, then publishers of Web of Science. Okay, and the formula is something, in short, is the number of what you call citations received divided by the number of articles published in a given journal. Okay, that is what it is. And then it's a 2-year window. Okay, it is believed that once the article is published in a journal, okay, it is read by the other peers, and then it gets cited in first 2 years very largely. Okay, they what you call, there is a term, citation classic. Okay, a best article, it will keep getting cited over several years. Okay, but then the number of citations to a given article normally get reduced over a period of time as the time passes. So it was decided, felt that 2 years is a fine, a good time to assess the quality of a journal as such. Okay. Now, let me give you an example from a table down there on this slide, which is an hypothetical journal. Okay. This journal has published 19 papers in 2020 and 20 papers in 2021, say. Okay. And in the year 2022, that is the following 2021, okay, the next year, okay, these two, what you call it, the papers from these 2 years of the volumes of that particular journal received 61 and 31 citations respectively, okay, to those 19 and 20 papers, right? And the impact factor, as we see the formula on the top, it is the citations divided by the number of articles. So 92 divided by 39, and that gives us a number which is 2.4, and that becomes an impact factor of this particular journal. Okay, now this impact factor is based on the number of citations received in the previous year. Okay. Now, say for example, if this document is of 2023, JCR, Journal Citation Report, it gets published somewhere in the mid of the year, some normally in the May, June. Okay. So they say, for example, JCR 2024 is yet to get published. Okay. But then JCR 2023 is the latest document which is providing us an impact factor of the journals as such. Okay, so that is what it is. Now, until the year 2022, there is another change that has taken place in the impact factor. There, the impact factor for a given journal was given up to the 3 decimal points. Okay, say for example, here it is 2.4394 something. Okay, up to 3 decimal places. Okay, but then from 2023 onwards, the impact factor is given only up to first decimal place as such. So what does that mean is this, that there will be several journals that will have an impact factor 2.4. So in this particular group, maybe probably if you are going by this quality criteria to select a journal, you will find that there are several journals, and then among those several journals, you will have to use other set of parameters to shortlist a good journal for your manuscript as such. Okay, so that is what the argument of Web of Science is. Basically, to be very frank with you, let me tell you, this is again in competition with the other competitor, okay, the Scopus database. Scopus database provides their quality criteria in this form only, 1 decimal place only. So the impact factor now also started getting published up to 1 decimal place, right? So that's what the impact factor is. Impact factor is a very famous term. Okay, any researcher will bank upon the impact factor to consider a journal to publish aim to publish his or her article in that journal. A high impact factor, yes, it is considered that if you succeed in publishing in that journal with a high impact factor, your article is also deemed to be of the same quality of that other articles that are getting published in that particular journal as such. There are several critics on impact factor. Some researchers just dislike impact factor, and some people like it, no doubt about it. However, since 60s, this quality criteria is there actually, and let me tell you, this quality criteria is for assessing the quality of a journal, but this quality criteria is also then used as a pseudo quality criteria, I will put it, for assessing the quality of the article of a particular researcher. Okay, which is very wrong. Not necessarily that your article, as if some researcher writes an article in a highly high impact factor journal, succeed getting it published, not necessary that his or her article will also receive the same number of citations that other articles would receive in that from that journal. Okay, so not necessary, but then yes, it is believed that once you succeed in publishing on a high impact factor journal, your article is also deemed to be of the same quality to that of the other articles that are published by those journals. But then, of course, one of the researchers have proved this, that yes, it is very close by, and not much to talk about it. Yes, it is. It can be used as what you call quality criteria to assess the quality of a researcher's individual researcher as. Okay, so that's what is the impact factor, right? So this is the Web of Science. Web of Science would provide you a list of journals which is free of cost, but they would not provide you quality criteria of those journals free of cost. They will say that, suggest you that, okay, you either subscribe to that impact factor list, JCR, or maybe probably download it from some source that's available on internet for free of cost, and then consult that, right? So these are the two things that you should think of. Acha, there is one more point that I must mention at this point of time, is this, that which is there when I speak on the predatory journals as such. The impact factor, since it has become so popular, okay, this particular term as a quality criteria, the useless journals, these predatory journals, also started writing some number on their website as an impact factor. Okay, now if some journal is writing an impact factor on their website, you must go to the Web of Science, what you call master journal list, and then search for that particular journal. And in case if you find that journal in this list, you can believe that yes, whatever the impact factor that is mentioned by that particular journal is likely to be true. Okay, but if it is not there, if the journal is not being monitored by Web of Science, then that journal cannot have an impact factor. Okay, impact factor is a registered term, and no one else other than Web of Science can give the impact factor to a journal, right? So that's very, very important, and you understand that, right? Okay, I'll come back to this point again when I showcase some predatory journals to you, right? Let's move on to the next source under the group 2 list. That's the Scopus sources list. If you click on that particular link under the Scopus title, yeah, you would reach to the Scopus sources list website. Okay, and it's more important over Scopus sources list that large number of items there are not journals. So you have to be careful again on that parameter as well. Okay, there is one more link on UGC-CARE list that you will find, delisted journals from group 2. Okay, UGC-CARE has since last year has come up with this particular link, and they have delisted some journals that are there which are of predatory and clone nature, and they don't want to encourage people to be there, okay, to publish in there. Acha, the another thing that UGC-CARE List website, at the bottom of this particular column, they put up a note, okay, where the note says the journals which are discontinued, inactive from our databases will not find a place in group 2 of the UGC-CARE list. Okay, so this is one more point for you to consider. Okay, you should not select a journal which is discontinued or inactive from the lists that are there on the top. Okay, Scopus or Web of Science. I'll show you now this analysis of the journals that are monitored by Scopus. Okay, I downloaded that file, the Scopus sources list of February 24, and then what I find is this, that you see those items, the 3 items: trade journals, book series, and conference proceedings, those put in the square there. Okay, those are non-journal items, and you should not select that item to publish your manuscript. Okay, because UGC-CARE only recognize journals from this list, right? Okay, that's one point. Secondly, I have put the numbers in red and black. Okay, the red numbers are the active journals on the Scopus list. Let's talk about the journals alone. Okay, you see, there are, if you as such search journals, there are 42,000 journals there. Okay, but then of those 42,000, 27,000 and odd journals are only active. Okay, so what does that mean? Is this that roughly 15,000 journals have been there in an inactive status or the discontinued status. Okay, and you have to be extremely careful that you do not select any such journal that has been discontinued as such. Okay, let me tell you at this particular point of time the point that we saw in the Web of Science. Web of Science, when they consider journal to get added to their list, they will first park that journal in the emerging sources citation index. Okay, they will monitor the quality for at least a couple of years or so. Okay, and then consider that journal adding or moving to one of those 3 citation indices, okay, that are part of UGC-CARE list. Okay, that is not the practice of Scopus list. Okay, what Scopus does is that if Scopus feels that a journal is worth adding it initially, they would straightway add to the Scopus monitoring list. And after a year or 2, if they find that journal is not worth it, they will drop it out. Okay, so that's why now you are seeing here a number difference of 27,000 active journals out of 42,000 journals over there. Okay, so you require to be careful. You really require to be this Scopus list. That's the bad thing of the Scopus list, that it has a lot of redundant sources there. Okay, so please be careful on that. I'm going to show you how do you find that. Okay, and how do you select it. Acha, now I would also like to mention at this point of time is this, that now whether does this mean that today the Web of Science, I mentioned you about 17,000 journals are monitored by Web of Science today, and 27,000 journals are monitored by Scopus. So does it mean that you have now a list of journals, 26,000 and odd plus 17,000? No. Most of those 17,000 journals that are there on Web of Science are also being monitored by Scopus. I had a talk with the representative of Web of Science a few years before, while I was in Goa University. And then he indicated that time that there are only something around 165 journals that are unique on Web of Science. Okay, there are all other journals are also being monitored by Scopus. So actually, to be in all, you have and what you call you have a list of around 27,000 and odd journals, okay, to select your journal from that list. Of course, you will select only the journal in your area of knowledge, but in general, this is what I would like to mention, that there is considerable overlap. There is a considerable overlap between Web of Science and Scopus list as such. Okay. Right. Now, let's go on to the Scopus sources list. So if you click on this link on the UGC-CARE Scopus source list, you will land on this particular page, scopus.com/sources. Okay. You can straight away also, without logging into the UGC-CARE, you can straight away go to this particular URL, and then you will get the same thing what you are supposed to. Okay, there is a drop down here. There is a drop down here. You can select a journal by subject area, by journal title, by publisher, and so on. And then here is something that the keyword or the title that you can type over here. So what I did is this, that I selected a subject area field, and then I search for the philosophy. Okay, the keyword philosophy. Okay, and it listed 914 results. Okay, it listed 914 results. Okay, now in order to get myself not confused with non-journal items, what can you do is this, that you can click in the checkbox of journals here, the source type journals. So that would reduce this list to only journal items, right? So that is something that you can think of. Acha, the good thing about the Scopus is this, that it also lists the journals not only in alphabetical order, but not in alphabetical order, but by the order of its quality. Okay, and the after the title there are several columns on this list. I'm showcasing you, and then we will confine only to these two columns after the title, the site score and the percentile score. Okay, that's what we will look into. That's more than enough to identify the quality of a journal. Okay, site score is something like an impact factor. Okay, see, I mentioned that impact factor is a registered term, and then no one else can use it, and this Scopus is a competitor to the Web of Science. So naturally, they cannot use this in any case. Okay, so they have used another term called site score. Okay, I comment. It's the computation of site score is almost close to that of the impact factor. Okay, whatever it is. So on this list, what you will find, the journals that are related to philosophy get listed based on their quality criteria. The topmost journal will be the first journal. Okay, that by default. You can change the list by alphabetical order or whatever the order that you would like to. But then basically default list is by the quality criteria. Okay, so these are the two columns that are important for you. And since these quality criteria are freely available on the Scopus sources list, I think it is easy to make a decision for a researcher which journals he or she should consider to or aim for publishing the manuscript. Okay, acha. Now, of these 914 results, I mentioned you that it lists the journals from the best journal to the least useless journal, to be very frank. Okay, now let's see. I have reached to the bottom of the list, and the serial number on this particular screen is 720. Okay, and then we had something around 914 items there. Okay, what you notice over here, the site score and highest percentile score and other columns also. Okay, NA is written. Now, what does that mean? That only means that this journal is now not being monitored by Scopus at all. Okay, please be careful. Acha, the another thing that I must mention over here, that we Indians, we always feel that, oh, we cannot publish in best journal. Okay, that's only meant for the Western people or Western researchers. Not like that. Nothing of that sort. The Indian researchers have also succeeded in publishing in the best journals that are there in the world. Okay, so please consider consulting the list from the top of the list. Okay, do not go to the bottom of the list. Okay, that's extremely important. That's extremely important, because one thing is this, that the bottom list, the journals have been discontinued, and then that's a redundant what you call part of the list. Okay, please don't go to that over there. Acha, this is what the formula, how the site score is arrived at. Okay, see, we already noticed that Scopus, sorry, the impact factor. Impact factor formula is the number of citations divided by the number of articles, isn't it? It's the same formula. Okay, site score has the citations divided by the number of documents. Okay, now, but the only change is this, that impact factor is calculated by 2-year window, whereas the site score is computed by 4-year window. Say, for example, the articles that are published in the year 2019 to 2022 and the citations received to those articles in those 4 years are considered to compute the site score. Okay. I like the Scopus sources list as compared to the Web of Science for two reasons. One is this, that it is freely available. It tells us the quality criteria then and there itself. And yes, that's something very important parameter. That's one thing. Second thing that I liked is this, that it has a modern approach in computations. Okay, see, impact factor formula, we noticed that it computes the impact factor. It starts looking for the citations to a published article after a year's gap or so. Okay, the articles published in the year 2020, 21, and then citations received to those articles in 22 are considered to compute impact factor. Whereas in the site score case, the citations received in the same year of its publication of article are considered. Now, this is something I consider as a modern approach in computation. See, in 1964, the journals used to get published only in print form. So naturally, the journal has to arrive on the stands of the library. The reader has to read through, and then reader would then write his or her own article, and then cite one of the good articles. So naturally, as per the concept of impact factor, the citation for a particular article will start getting only after a gap of a year or two. But then today, the scenario has changed. Most of the journals are available over the internet. Okay. Secondly, as soon as your manuscript finally gets accepted by the journal will upload your manuscript straight away on the journal platform, journal website. Okay, and it will give a DOI number to that, and it will say this particular article is being provided ahead of publication, ahead of its publication. Okay, maybe probably the article would get published after say 5-6 months time, depending on how much queue articles are queued in that journal. Okay, but then your article is immediately available to the readers. Okay, as soon as it has been accepted. Okay, so naturally your article will have a visibility, and then people will start reading it and then citing it. Okay, in their publications. Okay, so these days you start getting citations even in the year of its publication of the article as such. So this is a wonderful and great formula, and it is as per the times, current times. Acha. Do not stop at the site score and then the percentile score. That I'll speak on the percentile score a little bit more after some slides. Okay, once you find a particular journal is something closer to your what you call topic that your manuscript is about, then you can click on that particular title of the journal. The moment you click on the title, you will reach to this kind of page. Okay, it will provide you the details of that particular journal. Say, for example, I clicked on the philosophy and phenomenological research. Okay, and then it tells me the details about this, that since when it is being monitored on the Scopus. So it is being monitored from 2008 onwards. Okay, and then it is continuously it's the present means it is being monitored even today. Okay, the publisher details, ISSN, which subject area, and all that. Earlier, Scopus used to also provide a link to the home page of that particular journal, but somehow they have stopped it from this year onwards. It's very sad. It's very sad, but then that's what it is. We have at our disposal. Acha, there are three links over here: site score, rank and trained, and then the Scopus content coverage. Click on the site score, rank and trained, which is important. Okay, as soon as you click on this, the bottom area gets highlighted. Okay, it tells you that this particular journal is at the 44th rank. Okay, among the journals that we had selected. Okay, out of 762 journals on the, okay, this particular journal, philosophy and phenomenological research. Okay, now what I am trying to bring to your kind notice is this graph. Okay, check whether this particular journal over a period of time, normally this graph shows for 4 years, okay, but then this is showing for 5 years. That's fine. Whether the site score trend over the period of years, whether it is showing any increasing trend or a decreasing trend. If you see it is a decreasing trend, please do not aim to publish your article in that journal, because I see that in such case the Scopus is likely to discontinue that particular journal, because the site score trend shows that it is decreasing value over a period of time, and therefore the Scopus would identify this particular journal for discontinuation as such. There are the two types of graphs that are shown there. The bar one is the site score value, and the line graph is for the percentile category. Okay, percentile score. Okay, that's what it is. I'm yet to speak on the percentile as yet. Yeah, this is what is the percentile score. Now, what happens is this. Suppose if some 100 journals are listed, okay. Now, if 100 journals are listed in your area of knowledge, then the quartile 1 journals, that's the percentile score, huh? The 76 to 100 is the second column, that's the percentile score. Okay, and that's called quartile 1. Okay, so the best 25 percentile, okay, 76 to 100. Okay, that's the quartile 1. 51 to 76 is quartile 2. 26 to 50 is quartile 3, and quartile 4 is 1 to 25. Okay, my specific recommendation to you would be is this, that consider publishing your manuscript in the journals that are in the bracket of quartile 1 or quartile 2 maximum. Do not consider publishing in quartile 3, and never publish in quartile 4, because quartile 4 journals are mostly targeted for discontinuation in Scopus. That is what I noticed. Not that the quartile 1 or quartile 2 journals are not discontinued, but then the number is much, much lesser as compared to the quartile 4. Okay, so that is what the quartile, what you call criteria, quality criteria tells us, that aim for publishing in quartile 1 journals. Acha, I'm going to take you to some other website, and it is called SCImago. Okay, the URL is there down there on this slide. SCImago Journal Rank, HJR. Okay, this particular what you call website picks up data from Scopus only, and then over a period of time, it tells you the history of that particular journal. Okay, how, see, we already notice here for 4 to 5 years in this particular graph. However, if you go to the SCImago journal rank, you will notice there that a particular journal for several years, okay, how is doing well. Okay, so for example, Journal of Indian Philosophy. The latest trend is this, that the journal is in the quartile 1 for cultural studies and quartile 2 for philosophy. Okay, it had a downfall, some drop sometime in 2019. Okay, but then prior to that particular year, even prior to earlier, and from 2016 onwards, it is continuously showing that this journal is in the Q1 and Q2. Okay, so it is safe. It is safe to publish in this journal. That is what it tells us, right? Okay. Now, Scopus. Let me tell you something about the inactive journals. Okay, there are different reasons why the journals get removed from the list. Okay, the journals sometimes get seized, sometimes get discontinued, sometimes the titles change, or sometimes the journal merges with another journal. Okay, it's a very dynamic environment. Okay, but then in Scopus, you would notice only one phrase: coverage discontinued in Scopus, for whatever the reason that is mentioned over here. C is discontinued. I'm showing you the examples more on the oceanography, because I know those journals. I'm very familiar with those journals. So I know the history of the journals. Say, for example, now, Journal of Chemical and Pharmaceutical Research. This journal is discontinued in Scopus from 2017 onwards, which is fine. The journal is still getting published, and then the Scopus discontinued it. Okay, which is fine. From their monitoring, they didn't find this journal of some quality, right? But then Oceanologica Acta, this journal, the Scopus says coverage discontinued in Scopus, but actually this journal got ceased its publication from 2004 onwards. The question of Scopus discontinuing this journal doesn't arise at all. Whatever will be the case, you will not publish in this kind of journals. Okay, mangroves and salt marshes. Now, this journal is incorporated in another journal, Wetlands Ecology and Management. Okay, from the year 2000 onwards. But then Scopus will say coverage discontinued in Scopus. This is actually this particular phrase for all these kind of things. I feel that it's something not very transparent and clear. But then, okay, what does it mean only to you as a researcher? Is this that you will not publish in that particular journal as such, for whatever be the reason? Okay, it is not there in the Scopus list. Acha. Another very serious thing, very serious aspect that I'm showing you. There are unclear status titles that we notice in the Scopus sources list from 2022 onwards, and it's quite confusing. See, for example, a journal, Review of Contemporary Philosophy. Okay, it's a fourth journal. That's the best journal. Okay, one of the best journals in the quartile 1 journal. Okay, among the 700 and odd journals of the philosophy. Okay, but then the Scopus coverage years it's saying from 2015 to 2023. Now, how do you take it as? Has that been discontinued from 24 onwards? Why Scopus is not saying this as 2015 to present like this? Okay, here it is showing 2008 to present. That means, yes, we are pretty sure that the journal is continued being monitored on this database. So why is this said here to 2023? I have been trying to probe with the Scopus authorities on this, but then I'm not getting a what you call a response that is something reasonable as such. They keep on telling that you look into the Scopus sources list. You can download that list, which is available. The link is available on the Scopus sources. It's an Excel sheet. You can download and check whether that particular journal is active or otherwise it's being continued or not. Now, on this side, it says that this journal is monitored from 2015 to 2023, but it doesn't say that the coverage discontinued in Scopus. That kind of phrase, which is once the journal is discontinued, is not there. So therefore it's quite confusing, at least to me, and I'm sure it should be confusing to other researchers as well. So you can download that Excel sheet and check, and you will notice that this particular journal is active. Okay, so as such, it is safe to publish in the journal as such. Until last year, I mean, I started noticing this kind of thing since 2022 onwards, and I was hinting my audience that please be careful while selecting such a journal. But then probably over a period of time, with the correspondence with the Scopus and all that, and the kind of style that they are working, I guess that until the 2024 articles are added to the database of Scopus, they will write the last year like this. Okay, and then if once the 2024 gets added, it will say present. That is what I have inferred myself, which is my interpretation. It is my interpretation. So if you come across this kind of titles and then this kind of coverage, just be cautious about it. Just be cautious about it. Check on the what you call the spreadsheet over there, what this current status of the journal, whether it's active or inactive. That's one thing. And second thing that you must check is that which quartile a particular journal is falling. Okay, if it is in Q1 and Q2, and then if the Scopus says active, there is less likelihood that this would get discontinued. But then if the journal, if you are selecting, is in the Q3 or Q4, okay, and it says something like this 2023, and then though it says active here, I would still feel that you be cautious and try to avoid in publishing that journal. Okay, don't burn your fingers, right? So that's what my personal view is. Acha. So this is all about the group 2 journals, okay, the Web of Science and Scopus list. Let's move on to the group 1 journal. On the UGC-CARE list, you will click on the link for the group 1 journal, which is there in the middle column of the home page, and then you will reach to this kind of page. Okay, there are 3 options available to you on this page. The top option is search. Okay, you can search for the journals over here. There is a drop down wherein you can select whether you want to search in title, publisher, subject, and all that, and then you type a keyword over here and then click search. Okay, that's one option. So the list gets retrieved by your searching a keyword or searching a specific title of the journal, whatever. The other options is this, that Scopus has grouped the journals that they have put it in group 1 under very broad areas of knowledge: sciences, social sciences, arts and humanities, multidisciplinary, and Indian languages. Okay, once you click these buttons, the list of journals that are numbered over here would get listed. Okay, and then you can maybe probably go through the list and then make it a decision. Suppose if you know a particular journal title and then you just want to check whether that particular journal is being monitored in the group 1 list of scope UGC-CARE or not, okay, then here is a third option available to you. Okay, there are alphabets written from A to Z over here, and then you can click on the alphabet by which your journal, the journal that's in your mind, it starts with. Okay, and then the list of journals with that alphabet would get listed. You can check whether your journal is there under that list or not. So these are the three options that you have for the selection of journals from group 1. Okay, now I would like to mention over here is that the journals that are there in group 1 list are not there in group 2 lists only. Okay, only those journals are there. See, for example, I searched for the philosophy. Okay, I searched for the philosophy as subject, and then I got a list of 34 journals, okay, in the group 1 list. And this is how the table comes up, the journal title, and then the publisher, ISSN number, EISSN number, from which date to which date it is being monitored by UGC-CARE, and then there are buttons for the links or some comments. Okay, say the very first journal, after 2020 is indexed in Scopus. So therefore, this journal has been dropped from group 1 list of UGC-CARE now. Okay, it's not there. Okay, what a UGC-CARE suggesting, you consult Scopus and then check whether that particular journal is there or not, and then publish your article in that particular journal. Okay, now the buttons that you find in the last column here, view buttons, click on those buttons and then this kind of screen opens up. Okay, now this screen tells you it's same data, it's the same data, but now in a vertical order. But the difference is this, that the journal title is linked to the web page of the journal. If you click on the environmental philosophy now, you will reach to that particular journal from here itself. Okay, so that is the only advantage by viewing that particular journal details. Okay, so that is the group 1 journals list. I have been monitoring the number of journals that are getting added or dropped from group 1 journals list, and here is a table of trade. Okay, what you notice is this: there is a considerable growth in the arts and humanities. In December 19, it was 287, and today the number is something around 346. Okay, whereas the Indian languages also the same trend is showing, much better trend. 171, from that it has jumped to 288. Actually, in the year 2022, the numbers were much higher. In 2023, some titles have been pruned. Okay, they have been discontinued from group 1 list. Okay, so that is what we see. What I noticed from this is this, that the group 1 list or the policy of UGC-CARE is to encourage the journals to get added in the list for the fields like arts and humanities and Indian regional languages. Okay, whereas for sciences, social sciences, they are not very particular. So that hints us that even for the arts and humanities and languages in 23, you see that dropping, the numbers are dropping. Okay, but then whatever be the case, for the other fields, that hints us that those people, those researchers in the sciences and social sciences, may consider selecting journals from group 2 journals lists. Okay, whereas maybe probably the people in the field of humanities and linguistics, they may consider along with the group 2 list the group 1 list. Okay, that is what is an hint that I particularly like to give you, because the Scopus, the UGC-CARE doesn't want to encourage adding journals in the field of science and social science. There are plenty number of journals in these fields on the group 2 lists, whereas the group 1 list is mainly meant based on the what you call the earlier UGC list. Okay, it's mainly meant to encourage the journals that are in the field of humanities and literature and linguistics. Okay, so that's the recommendation. And then probably for the researchers in philosophy may like to consider these two lists: the Science Citation Index, Social Science Citation Index, and Scopus. Okay, in case if you would like to look at broadly as social sciences. If you look as humanities discipline, yeah, please consider consulting group 1 list also. But then there is one limitation of a group 1 list. The limitation is that now these journals are listed here in alphabetical order. Okay, and there is no quality criteria that's available for the journals that are there in this group 1 list, like impact factor or side score. It is your experience, your gut feeling that would probably help you in making a decision in selecting a particular journal from the list as such. Whereas the quality criteria like impact factor, percentile score, site score, etc., helps us in identifying the best journal among the lists. Okay, so that is something a very positive aspect of group 2 journals lists. Group 1 doesn't have that kind of feature. It's only by your experience. Acha. Philosophy, yes, it is a humanities discipline, and then probably you would like to bend upon the group 1 list. You may like to consult group 1, no doubt about it, but I would still like to encourage you to publish in group 2 journals as such. Okay, see, for example, there are some articles that are there from probably philosophy, and then the Indian researchers have attempted to publish in those journals. Okay, the Journal of Indian Philosophy is a part of group 2 list. Okay, so yeah, it is there, and then yeah, you can publish there, though it is an Indian journal. Yeah, it's there. It's not necessary that Indian journals are not there. There are a lot many Indian journals that are there in the group 2 lists. Okay, International Journal of Hindu Studies. Well, the language sciences is not your philosophy article, but then Philosophical Review, and then the Journal of British Society of Phenomenology. Okay, the Indian author has published over there. So it's not that what you call the articles in the discipline like humanities, areas like humanities will only publish articles that are of international importance over here. Okay, no, even the Indian philosophy article is also published in the British Society Journal. Okay, yes, this is no, it is again the language on the top over here. Yeah, so that's what I'm trying to hint you that please consider publishing in group 2 journals. There are advantages of publishing in group 2 journal. One is this, that you are benefited by straightway quality criteria, site score and impact factor. That's one thing. Second thing is this, that you are taking our knowledge to the world readers. Okay. Otherwise, where are the chances of getting our culture exposed to the world? If you publish in the journals of international repute, then only probably there are chances that yes, our culture gets exposed to the international readership as such. Okay, so that's all about what I thought that I should suggest you. In case if you have a journal that's not there in the UGC-CARE list, group 1 or group 2 also, you can recommend that journal for inclusion in the UGC-CARE list. Okay, on the home page, in the drop down, you will notice that there is a link called new submission. Okay, click on that, a form will open up. You can fill in that form. While you fill the form, you yourself will be able to guess and judge that whether the journal would get added, is likely to get added into the list or not, because it asks several questions on the quality aspects, and then you will be able to make a decision yourself whether you should submit that suggestion as such. Okay, your suggestion, if you are in a college, it gets routed through your IQAC of your college. It trickles down to the what you call university that your college is affiliated to. If you are in the university, the IQAC of university will take up the matter, and then finally it goes to a zonal university. Say, for example, Goa. For Goa, the Baroda University, Sayajirao Maharaja Sayajirao University of Baroda is the western zone, is the, where the what you call recommendation reaches. And then finally, after filtering at these ends, it finally goes to the UGC-CARE committee. And if UGC-CARE committee accepts the recommendations from you as well as from these three sources, then the journal gets added to the UGC-CARE list. My experience is that the journals UGC-CARE is liberal to some extent, at least until 2022, 2023. You notice that lot many journals have been dropped. But then until 2020, they were adding journals for the Indian regional languages and in the field of arts and humanities. Okay, so that is what it is. Acha, this is all about the group 1 and group 2. Okay, UGC-CARE list. I have some suggestions to you besides what you how do you select a journal from the UGC-CARE lists as such. We are all human beings, and if a particular journal accepts our article, our manuscript, to get it published in that journal, we feel more confident. Okay, so when we write a next article, we tend to send it to the same journal. Okay, and then you might burn your fingers at times. Now, my colleague published 23 articles in 3 years. I don't know how 23 articles can be written in 3 years, but whatever, my colleague wrote that many articles and published in this journal. Okay, and the journal got discontinued after 2021 from Scopus list. Now, what's the future? What's the future? What's the career? Does it going to affect the career of this person? We don't know. To be very frank, we don't know, because it is the committee's view. The author can always argue that he or she published articles while the journal was there in the list. Okay, active in the list. But then, it is up to the committee, isn't it? Finally, so don't take a risk. Don't see your research results are something like your investments. So we don't invest in one pocket, isn't it? We invest in the fixed deposits in the bank, we invest in the mutual funds, we invest in the probably gold, property, whatnot, isn't it? We spread our money. So your research results is nothing like an investment. Please do not invest in one pocket, one journal itself. Spread your works in different pockets as such. Acha. Second thing is this: one of the researchers from the Goa University only, he contacted me saying that is this particular journal, Prabandhan, is a management journal, is a predatory journal or what? So I said that it's a subscription journal. It cannot be predatory journal. Only the online access free journals are predatory journals, open access journals. But then he shared the mail that he received. Okay, the mail says that now you make a payment of so and so as a processing fee. This is after his article is published in the journal. It's funny. Nowhere on the journal website it is said that the author has to pay this kind of fee as such. So this is something, I mean, after looking at this, I said, yeah, sir, this is certainly not a predatory journal based on the kind of criteria and definitions of a predatory journal. But then, based on that, I concluded myself is this, that you should not, as far as possible, uh, submit your articles to a journal whose publisher is not so popular. Okay, and that's what my suggestion is based on this experience. The third thing that I would like to mention is this, that we are all in a hurry. The moment we submit our manuscript to a journal, we want that to get published very next day, okay, or maybe quickly, if not next day. But then a good journal undertakes the review process. Okay, your article, your manuscript will go to the referees. They will comment on it. You will improve and all that. And in that process, you require lot much of time. Okay, so it is very important for a researcher to plan accordingly. Okay, we always want, array, I'm going for my PhD viva, and then yeah, I must have some articles already published, and therefore we find some journal that would publish my article maybe probably in a week's time or so. No, that's very bad. You are ruining yourself. Here, this SI review, this is the website. It tells journal-wise their experiences. Okay, how much time each journal on an average would take. Of course, there are some journals on their website itself. They would tell that how much time does it take to publish your article, or the first feedback from the referee and all that. All such details are given over there. Okay, normally what is seen is this, it takes around 8 to 18 weeks to get your article, the first response to your manuscript as such. So you must keep at least 4 to 6 months time, okay, if you aim to publish in a good journal, okay, to get your article published. That's very, very important. Acha. This is a specific slide for all those who are very particular to publish in an open access journal. Yes, publishing in open access journal has its own advantages. The biggest advantage is visibility to your article. Okay, the article would get open to anyone. Okay, and then it is therefore, since it is available to anyone, it is likely to get cited also very quickly. Those are the two greatest advantages. And then maybe probably if you are what you call you don't like unethical practices like the commercial publishers that are doing today, the 5 commercial publishers, the Elsevier, Springer, Wiley, Tyler, Francis, and Sage. Okay, they charge huge subscription costs for their journals. Okay, and then yeah, we can, even rich libraries cannot afford to subscribe. So therefore, in order to what you call boycott those commercial publishers, if you look for a open access journal, yes, fine, all that is okay. But then what is needed is something, this kind of exercise that you should do. Go to the Scopus list, okay, the top right hand side, what you call data that I have shown over here, search on the philosophy, okay, and then click on this checkbox on the filters, display only open access journals. Okay, click on this checkbox. So the list would get reduced to only open access journals. Okay, and this is what now 165 journals list. Okay, and then select a couple of journals from there which are close to your what you call objectives or area of your work, and then check, visit another website. It's called DOAJ, Directory of Open Access Journals. Okay, Directory of Open Access Journals, in February it lists something around 20,000 journals over there, 20,000 plus journals. And then it says 67% of those journals do not charge you article processing charge, whereas the 33% of the journals charge you APC, article processing charges. Okay, so now the couple of journals that you have selected, check what is their policy on this DOAJ website. It's quick. It's quick. You can also go to the journal website and check that, but it's quick to check on DOAJ. That's all. So global bioethics. I checked on DOAJ, and these bottom screens are from the DOAJ. Global bioethics. It's published by Taylor Francis. Okay, and then it charges me something around 1615 euros as article processing charge. Okay, the other one that I selected is ethics in science and environmental politics. Okay, and then I searched for that journal in the DOAJ, and to me I noticed that it doesn't charge me anything. No charges, and the author retains all rights and all that. Okay, great. This is real and open access journal. And maybe see that there is not much difference between the site score. Site score keeps on fluctuating. Her percentile score, it's almost in the same percentile area. You both are in the Q1. So it is safe to publish, at least to me. I would not prefer paying the article processing charge and this huge charge for India's. This money is big, very big money, and why should we pay? This money, this much of money? Okay, I would prefer publishing in a journal, in an open access journal, which doesn't charge me any article processing charge. Okay, and it's published by a good publisher. Inter Research is a very good publisher from Germany, and why not? Why not I publish over there? That's what you can make a decision while publishing. So, if you want to publish in open access journals, your priority should be something like this: that the journal of your choice is in open access and is a part of Web of Science and Scopus. Okay, and possibly in high quartile. That's the first thing that you must check. Second thing is this, that journal of your choice is core to your subject. Okay, why I have written this bullet over there is this, that most of the predatory journals are of the very broad area. They will say social sciences and humanities. Okay, or the science and technology. Oh, we are in the micro specialization. Okay, then you should not select a journal which is open access journal which is such a broad area. And then third bullet, I'm saying, if you can afford to pay article processing charge, if you are in great hurry, you can afford, probably you select that particular journal and pay that much money. I would not do that. I would certainly not do that. 100% I will not do that. Okay, I would better prefer publishing in a journal which is behind paywall, the subscription journal. Okay, those journals are not predatory journals, and basically, well, okay, the visibility is not going to be the same as it is in the open access journals. Probably, I would increase the visibility by putting it in my what you call social networking platforms like ResearchGate or even Twitter or Facebook, or I will put it on the university repository. I'll put it on the subject repository, my article. There are different ways that you can increase the visibility of your publications. Okay, so it is not necessary that only open access journals can give visibility to your articles. Okay, if you don't find a journal in the open access platform which do not charge you, then probably you publish an article processing in a paywall journal. Okay, that's what my view is. I'm going to expose you to a couple of different types of open access journals. I'm not very sure whether this matters a lot for the social sciences and the humanities, but there are these journals. There is a journal, Open Library of Humanities, as such. They are called mega journals. Okay, they are called mega journals. Besides specific subject journals that I spoke to you already, the mega journals do have the broad scope. Okay, hundreds of articles get published in each issue of these mega journals, and they are very broad category. Okay, their acceptance of your article is based on the technical soundness rather than conclusions. Okay, especially in the field of sciences, when then there are negative results. Okay, when there are negative results, these specific subject journals do not like to publish articles on negative results. So you can certainly go to the mega journals. I'm not very sure whether there is any such kind of practice in the field of philosophy like negative results. Okay, but maybe probably in case if you find, if the your logically your article is right and then it is not likely to get accepted by a specific subject journal, yeah, mega journal is a place where you can publish. But again these mega journals charge you article processing charge. Okay, they are very high impact factor journals, no doubt about it, but they charge nothing less than $1,500. So in case if you are ready to pay that much, maybe probably you can think of. But the third category, the third type of journal, which is a data journal. Again, in the field of philosophy, maybe I don't know, not all, definitely not all your articles are based on some data that you collect or analyze. But then, of course, if you want to set new theories, you will have to collect the data, isn't it? So probably there is, you do sometime end up in collecting data, definitely. So what do you do with that data once you publish your articles somewhere? There are now this new category of journals in the open access. They are called data journals. Okay, you can just upload your data sets over there. Okay, and that becomes an article for you, one more article you can write in your biodata or CV. Okay, that's something that is great. Okay, here are some what you call, I'm showcasing three journals from the field of social sciences and humanities. Okay, the graph that I've shown, I copied it from this article. I put it a URL over there. You see, over a period of time, the number of articles in these data journals are getting higher and higher. Okay, I have copied this. The article is of 2023, and probably the 2022 data is incomplete over there. Okay, so that's what it is. But then you can certainly, in case if you have some data, do consider publish. Once you exhaust with all your ideas, you consider uploading that data in the data journal and then get one more article to your credit. This is for the sciences, it is not applicable to you probably. Okay, there are benefits of publishing data for you individually. Of course, as I mentioned, you get the credit of publishing one more article. It boosts the number of your publications and of course citations, no doubt about it. But the most important thing that is the case in the today's world is this: you find collaborators. Okay, if your data is seen by some other person who is working in the same field of knowledge that you are in, probably that person will say that, oh, come on, we will together work, and then maybe the collaborations would start over there. So that's something really great. The researches that are done in collaboration are valued very high today, and it also said that the collaborative papers get cited largely than the single authored papers. As a research community, well, that data could be reused and reinterpreted by others. Okay, if somebody is working in the same area, that person can avoid collecting the same data again and again. So they can use your data and then go ahead, and then they can give you an authorship also. The new insights by the other views, if you see there's some data in your area, you can say, this is the way I can also collect and then do something. Encourage replication, and then finally small data sets such get added. Finally you get several what you call drops added to that. It gets, a lake gets formed, right? I am halfway in my presentation, and it is 4:45. Do you want me to stop or continue? I can continue. I have no problem. I would continue as you had indicated earlier. I would still continue. I have no problem. Okay. I'm now going to show you real examples of predatory and clone journals. Okay, fine. UGC-CARE has published a list of journals. Those are called white lists. Okay, but then we have to be careful that there are some predatory journals in the UGC-CARE list also, in the Group 2 list also. Okay, in the international lists. So it is the responsibility of an individual author. You can always argue that you have published your article in a journal which was there in the list when you published it, etc., etc. But that's only an argument, isn't it? I would, if you have an option, why should you get into the predatory journals? Please avoid that. And then how do you identify a predatory journal? I'm going to show you that. Okay, we Indians should worry more about the predatory journals because of this research work that is done. Okay, Dr. Bohannan was an editorial board member on a journal called Science. It's a literary journal. It's very popular, very high impact factor, always 30 plus. 30 plus impact factor. Huh? Okay. And the article is quite old. It's of 2013. He wrote one fake article in the field of medicine. He said, in the article, he said that he has found out a molecule which cures a carcinogenous disease of a particular body part. Okay, cancer. Okay, now he wrote one article like that, fake article. And then he went on changing the name of the molecule and name of the body part. And then he cloned that article several times. Okay, and he wrote a fake author's name, fake institutional name, and then he sent all those fake papers to the supposedly predatory journals in the field of health sciences. And he started getting responses within a week's time or so that your article has been reviewed and then it would be published in our journal. Please pay so many dollars, etc., etc. And he retracted all those articles and he wrote an article in the Science, and the details are there down on this slide. Okay, what does he say there in that article is this, that very large number of those publishers, okay, have their one or other offices, either commercial office or editorial office or wherever, whatever, are in the part of this world that is, you see, the India is thick with all these links, isn't it? So we have to be extremely careful. We have to be extremely careful that we don't get into the clutches of the predatory journals, especially because they are just at our doorstep. This is a definition that is published in one of the articles in 2019 in the journal Nature. And I like this definition very much. So I thought that I would use this definition for what you call checking and defining whether a particular journal is of predatory nature or otherwise. The definition reads something like this. Predatory journals and publishers are entities that prioritize self-interest at the expense of scholarship. They are characterized by false or misleading information, deviation from best editorial and publication practices, lack of transparency, and or the use of aggressive and indiscriminate solicitation practices. Okay, now we will go by each bullet to check on the journal that how many are how to identify such each of those criterias and then make a decision whether a particular journal is predatory or not. But then the first bullet is that those journals prioritize self-interest at the expense of scholarship. Let's see that. Self-interest is defined, see, it's for both of us, we as authors and for a publisher also. Publisher is interested in making money, okay? So he will charge you article processing charge and some other money also he would make and then earn money. You as an author, you want somehow to get your article published, okay? You are in great hurry and therefore you say that, okay, let the money go, finally my article. So that's self-interest. That's against scholarship. The definition of scholarship is the character, qualities, activity, or attainments of a scholar. These two activities, learning and knowledge creation. Okay, this is what the Webster dictionary tells. Now, a researcher for lifetime, he or she would keep on learning new things in the field of study and keep on creating new knowledge. That's scholarship. Okay, so the journals that you should look are those which encourage scholarship and not self-interest as such. So that's something predatory journal. That's first bullet. The second one, the false or misleading information. Okay, now this link. I will. This is a real screenshot, and then on the slides I have given the URLs, so you can check that. Okay, the Open Journal of Philosophy. This is the journal title. Okay, and this journal is saying it has an impact factor. Okay, it says impact factor of 0.58. Okay, now the first thing is this, that from 2023 onwards, impact factor is only by single decimal number. So if there are two decimal numbers that are given here, that means there's something wrong. Okay, that's first thing. Then if the journal claims that it has an impact factor, I already mentioned you that impact factor can only be given by the Web of Science only after that journal is being monitored by them. Okay, so go to the master journals list and of the Web of Science and check the journal with the title Open Journal of Philosophy. Okay, this is the screenshot that I have picked up from master journal list. And then when I search for Open Journal of Philosophy, it says found 0 results. Okay, that means the journal is not being monitored by Web of Science, and therefore the impact factor that is written over here is a bogus impact factor. Okay, please do not get yourself attracted to such journals that upload the bogus impact factors. Misleading indexed in claims. Okay, they see the articles from the journals, if they get added to the different indexes or citation databases or the bibliographic databases of some standard, then only it can be said that that particular journal is indexed by that particular indexing database or something like that. Okay, now this journal, International Journal of Latest Research, who does the old research? Latest research in humanities and social sciences. Okay, this is the journal title. Okay, there is one. Okay, now this journal tells, okay, on their homepage itself, that this is indexed in Google Scholar, ISSUU, okay, PDF search and all that. Let me not keep on reading all that. It's all nonsense. It's all nonsense. None of these are the quality databases of articles. Okay, no, except Google Scholar, I would put it that way, because Google Scholar, yes, it indexes articles from the journals that are there on internet, and then they allow it to get into their servers. Okay, so that is, but then so there is no quality criteria there. But the rest of the items that are mentioned there, they are not indexes, journal indexes. They are not the databases indexing the articles from the journals. They are either the directory kind of information, or they are the repositories and something. Okay, Cyrus, no, Cyrus died long back, somewhere in 2014, 2015, but then it's still there that they are indexed by Cyrus. Funny. Okay, so it's Sensei, it's a software company. The WorldCat is a union catalog of what you call holdings of libraries world over, and focused on the US and Europe. Okay, so that none of these are the journal indexes. Okay, so you have to be careful when you see such long lists. Okay, and Now, here is a website I liked very much. MIARUB.edu. It's the information matrix for analysis of journals. This is from South America. It's getting published somewhere. Okay, it really tells, it checks for a journal and a database and standard data, hundreds of databases, standard indexes that it has listed. It checks whether a particular journal is indexed in any of the database or not. Indian Council of Philosophical Research Journal. Okay, this is a journal. I checked over there on their website. This is the URL. Okay, and then what I found is this, that it is indexed in two citation databases. One is Emerging Sources Citation Index, which is not applicable to us, and the second one is Scopus. Yes, yeah, if it is indexed in Scopus, yes, yeah, these journals appear to be worth considering for publication. One multidisciplinary database, okay, IBZ Online. It's published by a commercial publisher, Dick Whiter. Two specialized databases, okay, Linguistic Bibliography and Philosophers Index. I'm sure Philosophers Index must be a very standard, what you call, database in the field of philosophy. Okay, so this gives us a very clear idea that a particular journal is indexed in very standard, what you call, indexes or otherwise. Okay, in case if you are confused, you can certainly visit this website and then check your journal. Acha. The next bullet is deviation from best editorial and publication practices. Okay, we'll check on that part now. I took the help of this particular what you call information on this particular website page. It tells that the publication practices includes editorial practices also. So let's check both on this criteria. International Journal of Humanities and Social Sciences. Okay, I reached to this journal website. URL is there down on this slide. I clicked on this BRPI. Okay, that's the link. I said, what is this BRPI? Okay, that says it is Brooklyn Research and Publishing Institute. Oh, great, it is an institute. But then it's a virtual research organization. This is funny. There are no virtual research organizations. But then this is where it is this organization. It is in US and Bangladesh. You see the next slide. Okay, never get into such kind of what do you call journals. Okay, a legitimate journal will tell you from where it is getting published, complete postal address of the journal, and not just email or something like this. Okay, not just it won't open up just a form to fill in your information there. Okay, please don't get yourself attracted to such. The other thing that I would like to mention in the publication practice is that most of the predatory journals, 99% of the predatory journals, they start with the title International Journal of. So the moment you see this International Journal of, start looking at that journal with a doubt. Not that all journals starting with this are predatory journals, but most of this. Okay, that's one thing. Second thing I mentioned you, already mentioned you, that these predatory journals have a very broad scope. Humanities and social sciences. Now, what not is covered. Okay, that's to get their business. Okay, and therefore, please don't get into such journals. Acha, frequency of publication. This is another best publication practice. Okay, I couldn't get some good example from the philosophy. I have some examples now from other what you call sciences. Please bear with me. But then, in case if you come across some such journals in your area of knowledge, get yourself alerted. This is a journal titled Cellular and Molecular Biology. Okay, and see, I have a screenshot over here. We'll start from the bottom. Issue 6 of volume 66 was published in October 2020. Issue 7 of 66 was published in November. So that means monthly frequency. Okay. Then issue 8 of volume 66 is published in February. So 3 months lag. Okay. Interestingly, now the volume changed in the mid of the year. Normally, the research journals volumes start with the calendar year. Normally. There are exceptions in the literature and linguistics. I don't know whether there are such exceptions in the humanities as well, but then you can decide legitimacy of that particular journal. Okay, 67.1 is published in March 21. Okay, and then 67.2 gets published after a 6 months gap of September. Okay, this is funny. The standard journal will announce that what would be at what frequency the journal would get published in a given year. Okay, and it would publish all those issues according to the calendar. Okay, if you find something like this, then you should, as far as possible, avoid submitting your articles there. Special issues and supplements. Those predatory journals, they would open special issues backdated, the supplement backdated. They'll say, you want to get your article published backdated? Yeah, pay us so much, we will publish your article backdated. Okay, please don't get yourself attracted. There is a very famous publisher, MDPI. It's an open access publisher, several hundred open access journals. Okay, and hundreds of their journals have very high impact factor, Q1 and Q2. Okay, but then I always looked at this particular publisher with a doubt. Finally, I got an article in recent past, last year only. Okay, they have exposed this MDPI, this article. It says that in the year 2022, 100 MDPI journals that have an impact factors published more than 17,000 special issues, not 17,000 articles, 17,000 special issues containing 187,000 articles in 1 year. This is special issues. Besides that, there are routine issues. How much money this publisher must be making? You can understand, isn't it? This is something you have to be extremely careful with MDPI. Okay, I'm going to show you philosophies on with MDPI. Now, this is the predatory publishing Twitter. On the tweet, I got another, the International Journal of Environmental Research and Public Health. This journal was on the Web of Science monitoring list, and they dropped it finally. But then there was an analysis that was done from 1st January 2023 to 11th April 2023, that is 101 days. In 101 days, this journal published 5,180 articles. That is about 51 articles per day. Okay, can you imagine? Can you imagine whether a journal can publish, get the articles reviewed and then refereed, and then they are changed according to their suggestions, and then you publish that many articles? This is a Q2 journals in the Scopus list. Okay, you have to be careful. You have to be careful with this kind of publisher. Editorial practices. In case if you land into a journal with the title International Journal of, look at the editorial team, besides the address and the starting looking at the doubt with the title and all that. Okay, I reached to this particular journal's editorial team. Okay, and I started looking how many are there from India. Okay, and the first Indian that I saw, the fourth in the list, Mahanas Tabassum, Daffodil International University, India. I was shocked. I said that I worked in this field for several years. I never knew that there is some such kind of university in India. But then maybe probably new private universities are coming up. Maybe I said that maybe new university has come up. So I Googled. And then I noticed that this university is from Bangladesh. Okay, it's in Dhaka. So I searched for Manas Tabuzum in Daffodil International University website. I didn't find her there. So I Googled Manas Tabassum, and I found her in Jagannath University in Dhaka. Okay, and well, yeah, she is there probably. But then, interestingly, another thing I noticed, that this Jagannath University's URL address, you see, JNU We Indians know what a JNU stands for. Okay, but they can't write .ac.in. They have to write ac.bd over there. But then that's kind of people, and that's kind of institutions. Okay, this journal has editorial board team members from Singapore, Philippines, Tunisia, Malaysia. How many? How much of what you call money is invested in research in these kind of countries? And there are so many researchers coming from these countries as editorial board team members. You have to be careful. This is a very unique example. I would like to show you Omics. This is a publisher. This was a publisher in Hyderabad, India. Okay, and this was another open access publisher publishing several hundred journals. And this publisher was sued by U.S. government, and then they were fined for several $1,000s, and they wound up their business. But before winding, they made they split the Omics business in 6 companies, and these journals still continue to be there. Okay, I found one article written on Omics in the Nature in 2021, and what I found is that this particular journal, Advances in Pharmacoepidemiology and Drug Safety. Okay, there this article says there were 2 editor-in-chiefs there, Robert Holland and Richard Slaughter. So they asked Robert Holland whether you are editor-in-chief, and Robert Holland said that he had never been listed as editor without his consent and knowledge. Okay, so that is one thing. And this article further says that the Richard Slaughter died in 2016, but he continues to be editor-in-chief on this particular journal. So that's something that is a what you call predatory journal quality. Acha. I did get some journal. I searched for journals in philosophy rather. Okay, did get one journal which is published by MDPI. The title of the journal is Philosophies. Okay, it has an impact factor of 0.9 and site score of 1.1. It's a Q1 journal in the Scopus list, 78 percentile score, and all that. Okay, so you will tend to publish in the philosophies. Okay, but then I was trying to look based on my previous experiences with NDPI, whether what are the people saying about this. And then there is a website called Philosophers Cocoon. Okay, the URL is there on the bottom of the screen. Okay, there is a discussion that is going on. Okay, so one of the question was asked by one of the researchers whether this is a predatory journal or not. So there are responses to that by several people. I have screenshots of 2 responses here. Okay, what the first response says, I would certainly say their practices are in fact predatory. I rejected the paper I reviewed in the strongest possible terms. It was non-contributory, garbled, and would never have passed any responsible desk review. Okay, and further, the reviewer says the paper was almost immediately published anyway with no substantial revisions. Okay, so that indicates that MDPI is for money and nothing else. Okay, and then the reviewer has spent a lot of time in reviewing that, and no value is given. The second reviewer also says the same thing. I referred a paper for this journal. The paper was generally good, but had one serious flaw. It had 0 citations, even though plenty of relevant literature existed. The other referee said the same thing. The problem could have been addressed without too much difficulty by the author. However, the paper was published without changes. I won't be referring for them again. Okay, so this is the kind of journal, this is the quality of a journal. Okay, you make a decision whether you would like to publish in such a journal or not. Okay, it's up to you. Of course, you will have to pay. The MDPI charges huge article processing charges. Okay, so yeah, if you are rich enough to pay, publish there. It's in Q1, and then you can keep on arguing when you publish it was in the list, etc., etc. Review policies. If some journal says like this, that the fast track review fee, the fee guarantees authors to get the review report within 7 working days. Okay, and then you'll have to pay additional money for that. Okay, please don't get yourself attracted to this. I again went to the SciReview website, and here are the broad list of subject categories. You see, the last line is humanities. The first response, okay, it takes for the humanities roughly 16 weeks, okay, in case if you submit your manuscript to a good journal. Okay, the least is in the field of medicine. Okay, but then otherwise the 15 to 18 weeks is normal. So ensure that you keep that much time when you submit your manuscript to any journal of best quality as such. Okay, this is another publisher, and we are going to talk about the transparency. That's the next bullet. London Journals Press. It says on their website, copyright transfer of research paper to the London Journals Press and fee payment by the author is carried out. It does not tell you how much fee is to be paid by the author. That is one thing. Okay, it depends. They will keep on bargaining with you. Okay, depending on your pocket, they will extract as much as money from you, your need, and yes, your possibility of paying all that money. Okay, the second thing that I noticed is this, that open access journals, the copyright rests with the authors. Okay, the very reason that the open access journals movement started, is that get the journals in open platform. There is no copyright, or the copyright will still exist with the author. In case if you publish with the commercial publishers, you will have to transfer the copyrights to the commercial publisher. That was one reason why open access movement started. Okay, so there's no question of copyright transfer if there you are submitting article to open access journal. Solicitation. If you publish a good article in some good journal, okay, they will keep on sending you mails after mails. They will say that we invite you to submit your research paper to our journal. You become a editorial board team member or reviewer for our journal, etc., etc. Please do not get yourself attracted to such solicitations. Just delete this mail and nothing else. Okay, please do not. International Journal of Philosophy. Okay, here is their solicitation is on their website itself. Join the editorial board. Come on. When I see this kind of announcements, I recollect the Goa private transport buses. Okay, the bus conductor will not leave the bus until you board the bus. Okay, it's something like that. These journals, the predatory journals, they will somehow take you on their editorial board. They will attract you, and they will whatnot. They will take all your career at the stake. These are other from other journals also. This is what it is. In the UGC syllabus for this ethics and all that, they have added one point, is this, that the formula for identifying a predatory journal, and then UGC-CARE formula, they call it. I wrote to UGC-CARE, and then my colleague over there, she said, no, there is no such formula from UGC-CARE, but there is a formula by Pune University, SPPU, Savitribai Phule Pune University. Okay, what the formula says, let's look at the columns. It looks for the publisher's details. It looks for the chief editor's details. It looks for the fabricated impact factor. It looks for the article publication charges. It looks for the journal index 10 claims. It looks for the regular frequency of publication. And the last column is the membership, Committee on Publication Ethics. That's a what you call a committee formed by this all publishers, standard publishers, and they what you call accept the membership for that from different journal publishers as such. So what this Pune University formula says is this: they have given some marks for each of these criteria, and they say that if the journal has secured 6 or more marks, that journal may not be predatory. Okay, I would personally say you that if the journal fails on any one of these criteria, please do not burn your fingers. Please do not submit your art. There are several journals available to you. Why should you take that risk? Okay. Often the question is asked, why not we have a list of predatory journals and publishers? Yes, that was actually done by a librarian by name Jeffrey Bell, who is of the University of Colorado in last decade. But and his list was very popular at that time. It was called Bell's list. Okay, but then he had to close that list by 2017 because he had to face a lot of lawsuits and defamation cases. Okay, not only that, he was prepared for all that, but then the journal publishers started bothering university authorities, asking university authorities to remove this Jeffrey Bell from the institute. Okay, that's something funny. So finally, there was a problem in the University of Colorado everywhere for everyone. So finally, he closed his website. But then the criteria that he had listed to consider a journal, whether it is predatory or not, is still existing on the internet, and then that's there in the fourth bullet. It's more stringent criteria than what I showed you. Okay, the Bell's list as it was still exists. It's maintained by someone else. I don't know who does that work, but it also updates something. But this is fairly incomplete. It's very old list. Okay, I personally would feel that you should not look into these such lists as such, because you are really going to waste your time in searching bad things. You better look for a journal which is good for you. Okay, there's no point in investing your time on such bad lists. Moreover, all these bad lists, okay, blacklists, I would put it, they list the journals based on some criteria. Say, for example, Jeffrey Bell had listed all the journals from a publisher called Frontiers. Okay, and Frontiers journals is supposedly to be the best publisher and having journal with high impact factor and all that. And then there was an article in the Nature in October 15 commenting on the Bell's list as such. Okay, but then today Frontier is nothing. We saw the MDPI. MDPI is much higher. I think 3 times higher than Frontier. Okay, and then so it is the individual's interpretation, and then it is you as an author make a decision whether a particular journal, what criteria, based on this criteria, whether it is of predatory nature, and should you not keep yourself away from that. Okay, so that is the best way of doing it, right? That's all about the predatory journals. I'm going to now, we are in the last phase of my presentation. I'm going to showcase you some cloned and hijacked journals. Okay, what has happened is this: the UGC-CARE list is very stringent, though they have added some predatory journals there, but then large number of predatory journals have lost their business once they are delisted from UGC list. Okay, so now these publishers have great minds. They started this kind of new class of journals. Let me read the definition of cloned journal or hijacked journal from Wikipedia. It is like this: journal hijacking, cloning, refers to the brand jacking of a legitimate academic journal by a malicious third party. These journals set up a fraud website for the purpose of offering scholars the opportunity to rapidly publish their research online for a fee. So what does it mean is this: these publishers are for money, to be very to come to the quick conclusion as such. Okay, there is a list of loan journals like a Bell's list. There is a list that UGC-CARE has put in on their website. Okay, but then these are fairly incomplete. Okay, please do not go by those lists. I would say understand how do you get to know which is a predatory journal or a clone journal. Okay, I am very sure that our minds, we have two minds. The inner mind says that, Are, this looks to be a doubtful journal. But then other mind says that, Are, I want to publish my article soon. I have deadlines. So let me go ahead. It's there in the list. So why to bother and all that. Okay. So we listen to the other mind and then we publish and then finally we get into the problem. Okay. So please, this is the list of loan journals on the UGC-CARE website. Please do not depend on this list. It is fairly incomplete. Understand how do you what you call identify a journal as a clone journal. Okay, what are these? These clone journal publishers are doing. They are picking up a journal title from UGC-CARE list. Okay, and register a website for a legitimate journal that is published as print only. Okay, there are some journals that are still published in print only. There are some journals that are there in the list. Okay, the list does do not get updated immediately as the journal gets discontinued. Okay, so they open up immediately a website for that particular journal title and they say that our journal is there in the UGC-CARE list. Okay, please, it's a discontinued, merged with other journal, and then yeah, that's something they open up the clone journal. Okay, the journal is in the list, but not a research journal. It's some other type of document. Okay. The bilingual title, if it is a non-English title, they will write non-English title and then they will add some more English name to that. Okay. And then they will say it's the same journal. Okay. The next is hijack content. They will hijack the content of a real journal to start with. Somehow they will get added their new journal title name to the lists and then they will make a business. Or the last is, I have no solution to that. They will start a parallel to the real journal. They will open up another website, which is the journal, the real journal website exists, but they will open another website by the same name. And then they will say that, yes, our journal is there in our heritage. Our Heritage is a real journal published in print only form, okay, from Sanskrit College, Kolkata. Okay, this journal was there on Group 1 list, okay, but then it is now removed. Soon it was removed in 2020 itself. And the clone website had started by that name, okay, Our Heritage. People started contributing to this journal because it was there in the UGC-CARE list. Okay, and when it was removed, they lost their business. So as soon as they lost their business, this journal discontinued their website. Okay, I got this screenshot from an archives. Okay, so that's what finally would happen. This is a journal, Mukta Shabda Journal. It's actually a literary journal for Marathi literature. Okay, but then this is a website that is open, shabdabooks.com. It's a by the same title, and then it says that it's the multidisciplinary journal. Okay, and yeah, all that is said there. And the editorial board, you see, they all people are from US and all that who don't understand Marathi at all. Whatever be the case, but they say that it's a multidisciplinary journal. So the question of understanding Marathi doesn't stand at all. Okay, GIS business. Oh, this journal has troubled a lot to many authors from the university as such. Okay, GIS, there are two words, GIS and business. GIS stands for the Geographic Information System, but the business means something like maybe probably commerce management and all that. Okay, but then the Scopus record did say that it's an Earth Planetary Sciences journal. Okay, and it's published by ABC Overland. This journal had discontinued sometime. I don't know when it was discontinued, but then a clone website had started somewhere in 2020, which is the screenshot is down there. Okay, now it says, I have put it in square, the GIS business is a multidisciplinary journal. Okay, the clone journal says it's a multidisciplinary journal, whereas the Scopus record says that it is a earth science journal. Okay, I didn't find real journal, but then after very late, I found some journal like this. It's not available in digital form, but information about the journal, and it's published by now Vedi Verlag. Okay, but then anyway, Scopus has discontinued the journal, the real journal also, and the GIS business. I don't know what is happening with it. It's probably they have stopped it. This journal played a big havoc in 2022. Journal of Positive School Psychology. Okay, it was in the Scopus record. The Scopus record doesn't indicate that from which year to which year it is being monitored there. Secondly, it says that it is published by Society for Psychology and Education. Okay, another website was opened. Okay, it's Journal of Positive, the down screen there. Okay, and then it says that the same ISSN number, same title, and all that. But the text says that the Journal of Positive School Psychology, published now by ASR Research India. Okay, now this doesn't match. There was big discussion on the Twitter, okay, on for this particular journal, and finally some authors together published a paper on this, that how is this clone journal. Because the discussion on the Twitter, the journal publisher never responded. Okay, when not many articles were getting contributed to this. So finally, I wrote to the Scopus, and by that time, it had already a bad name. So the Scopus responded to me saying that we are sorry to inform you that the Journal of Positive School Psychology is not active for Scopus coverage, and no indexing can be allowed. Okay, all content under the source has been removed. Okay, Scopus doesn't do that, but then they had, for this particular journal, they had done that. But interestingly, this so-called the ASR Research India has filed a court case against those authors who have published an article that saying that this particular journal is a clone journal as such. Okay, so that's the court case is going on, and let's see what happens. This is a discontinued journal, Hong Kong Journal of Social Sciences. It was there in the Scopus list, okay, until 2022. It doesn't say that it's discontinued as such, but then a clone website has opened. A clone website has opened, and it is a Q4 journal, right? This is another journal, which is a merge journal, Journal of Interdisciplinary Cycle Research. Scopus list already says that this journal is continued as biological rhythm research. Okay, but then some clone journal was opened by this name. Okay, and then it says that Journal of Interdisciplinary Cycle Research is in the UGC-CARE approved Group 2 list journal. Okay, all that, and then this is the website of that. Okay, please be careful. Please be careful. Don't get yourself attracted to that. They say that acceptance status can be given to you in 24 hours. See, great. How fast? Okay, please be careful. These two journals had really, I had tough time with these two journals. The researchers, one of the researchers contacted me saying that which of these two journals is legitimate and which one is a clone. I visited both these websites. Both websites had several issues, hundreds of articles in each issues, and each website saying that the other website is a predatory journal. Okay, we are real. It was impossible for me to decide. I went to their addresses. They had given their addresses. From their addresses, I could reach up to that Google Street. The addresses were in US. I can't get into the building on Google Drive, Google Maps. So finally, I had to give up that way also. I didn't knew how to select. Find out. Finally, I went for IP lookup. I said, let me see where these servers are. Okay. So when I looked up for the IP of this, I noticed that one IP of this journal was in the Chennai, and the other one is in Delhi. So this is funny. I said that these are the US journals. Why should they have their servers in India? Okay, I wrote back to that particular researcher that I'm sorry, I'm unable to categorically tell you the decision, but then this is what I see, that I have, looks like that both these journals are not legitimate journal, but then I couldn't find the real journal, and I did find after some time. Okay, Seabold report is a journal. On the Scopus list, I saw that it's a trade journal. You see, trade journal will never invite research articles. Trade journals are meant to give publicity to the products of a particular company. Okay, now I could find the real journal after some time. It is seaboldreport.com. That is the real address. And the clone journals, they had started with .net, .org, and then over a period of time, I found one more website, .com. Okay, so there are three publishers who started the journals. Okay, three websites are there. Okay, we don't know who are the publishers behind that. Maybe probably the same publisher. But then trade journals will never invite research articles. That's so I said that yes, this is a real journal, trade journal, and all those journals that I showed you on the previous screen, they are all cloned journals as such. So they pretend as a journal and they publish it. Okay, this is a journal, Bulletino Storico Bibliografico Subalpino. That's the title, probably from South America. Okay, and it's probably something about the history or something like that. I don't know. I'm sorry. To be very frank, I have not translated this, but then I don't know. So this is a existing real journal. Now another journal started, Bulletin for Technology and History. Now, what is the relation between technology and history? Why should there be a journal like this title? Okay, that's one thing. Second thing, in the Scopus, they picked up that screenshot and they said, initially the same title is written there, Bulletinos Storico Bibliografico Subalpino, and they put a slash there and they wrote Bulletin for Technology and History. That's definitely not a translation of that particular non-English title. But then they started the journal with the impact factor of 7.2 and all that. Okay, please be careful. Please be careful. Okay. Oh, this is another funny thing. International Energy Journal. This is recent past. The 2023. Only I was asked about this journal in December itself. Okay. This is a real journal. In fact, this journal is published by a very prestigious institute from Thailand. Okay, it is called Asian Institute of Technology. Now, this they picked up the clone journal picked up the what you call contents of this particular journal and started another journal. It's called China Petroleum Processing and Petrochemical Technology. Okay, and they even got this journal added to the Scopus list. You see, the Scopus list also has this journal. Okay, and this is the URL. Long alphabets. I couldn't make a sense out of it, though it is Chinese. But there should be some sense. It should make some sense. So I was looking for the contents, and when I started reading, the first thing that I doubted is this: that this is a title that is indicating it's a petroleum and petrochemical technology journal. But then when we read about the journal, it reads the content something like this: China Petroleum Processing and Petrochemical Technologies quarterly publication published by so and so, etc., etc. Papers on technological, socio-economic, and environmental aspects of energy economics, planning, energy conservation, renewable energy sources, biomass, solar, wind, and small-scale hydropower are published. I said, come on, why a petrochemical technology journal will publish on all these subjects? But the next sentence started doubting. The IEJ is proud to be included in emerging sources citation index, etc., etc. I said, now there is no mention of IEJ here. in the title. So I again search what is IEJ, and then I reach to this real journal, International Energy Journal. And on International Energy Journal, I noticed a hint somewhere. Okay, it's notice. The China Petroleum Processing and Petrochemical Technology Journal is not, and whatever way, affiliated with the IEA journal. Okay, International Energy Journal. Okay, so this is something that they have put in their notice. So I said okay, and then I went to the contents page of this journal. Until 2022, they had just copied the content of this particular journal to their as their content, and they got their journal what you call added to the Scopus list, and they were flourishing. Okay, so this is renaming the title of existing journal by copying the data from another journal. Terrible, terrible. This is a real journal, the Journal of Austrian Society of Agricultural Economics. Okay, and this is a clone journal for that. The real journal opens, there is a website, and they have opened another clone journal website. But then looking at the Gmail address, one can understand that this is a innovations. It's a real journal and clone journal website. The International Medical Journal, real website and clone website. Okay. On the Scimago Journal rank, there is a discussion that's gone in, and I said this is something sad. Some author had paid 15,000 rupees, and then the publisher is not responding. There's no point in shedding tears at the last stage. Okay, you must be careful while submitting your article itself. Okay, and of course, this discussion is irrelevant to that particular website. That apart. Okay, so that's all about the clone journals. Please be careful. The number of predatory journals has stopped considerably. Okay, but the clone journals are being opened, and then they are, as I showed you, the very different ways. Very different ways. They are they're very novice. I mean, sometimes you get confused. Okay, but then you please be careful. Please check yourself twice before you make a decision to submit an article to a journal. If you want to get away from such clone journals, predatory journals, maybe probably you submit your articles to the journals which are behind paywall. That's an easy way of getting out of. Yeah, your articles may not be available in open access, but then at least they are in the good impact factor journals, and maybe probably your peers would certainly have a look at it, and then yeah, you would lately get it, get your citations and all that. Okay, there are commercial publishers. These 5 commercial publishers, they have their own platforms. If you submit the titles and an abstract of your manuscript over there, they suggest you which journal you can probably submit your manuscript to. So this is one easy way of doing it. Besides the publisher, they will suggest only the journals that they publish. Okay, but then even the Web of Science. Okay, below that master journals list search screen, if you scroll down, you will reach to a manuscript matcher. Okay, so you get they would suggest you from those 17,000 journals that they monitor it. Okay, GEN, that's another website, journal author name estimator, that also suggests like this. Inago Open Access Journal Finder. This is another website that suggests you open access journals where you can submit your articles. I tried this for my writings. I'm not so happy, but then maybe probably this is artificial intelligence technique that they use it. Maybe probably you benefited. That's why I'm showing it. There are several such interesting guides that I talk the way that the best of all that is think, check, submit. Very nice, lucid language. They have explained it. Okay, do visit this. Okay, and then they tell you there are several. There is the other one is the Be Informed that I like. It's from library. Okay, so that's it. This is a book that I wrote in Marathi. Okay, it's published by Marathi Vignan Parishad last year in 2022. It's available freely on their website. Okay, it's a digital copy. It's only ebook, right? Those who understand Marathi and interested in reading, there is much more information on the research and information tools. Okay, than what I said it over here in this presentation. So thank you very much. I would like to seek if there are any questions.
Thank you so much, sir, for your wonderful lecture.
Professor Terence Rodrigues, during which month? One moment, I'll check the chat box. During which month does the UGC-CARE List 1 add new or remove existing journals? UGC-CARE List updates their list every quarterly. Okay, I'm sure now, yeah, we are in the fag end of the April. They probably they must have already updated their website. I have made my presentation ready in February itself when this particular invitation came, so I didn't check latest update. But then, yeah, they probably the May you would find new additions and deletions as such.
Hi, thank you so much,
Thank you so much,
Murari sir.
Murari sir.
If
If
anyone has any
anyone has any
questions, you
questions,
can
you
please
can
put it in the
put it
chat
in the
box,
chat box,
or you can
or you can
directly raise your
directly raise
hand
your
and
hand
ask the
and ask the
questions
question
yourself.
yourself.
If
If
one puts
one
puts the
puts
question
the
in
question
chat
in
box,
chat
I will
box,
read
I will
it
read
out
it
to
out
you all,
to you all,
or you
or
can
you
just
can just
raise your
raise
hand
your
and
hand
ask
and
the
ask the
questions.
questions.
Please let the
Let the
questions
questions
begin.
begin.
Is that boring? No questions? Hello.
Hello, sir.
Yes, madam.
So thank you for your presentation. I'm Sulochana from Women's Studies. I just wanted to know, you said, sir, that we should not publish in one particular journal, right? Uh, like we
Yes.
can
I mean,
publish.
that's
Yeah.
yes.
So my
Better.
question was, if we are reviewing as a reviewer in certain journal, can we publish in those journals also?
Can you please repeat your question?
Suppose we are self-reviewing or part of these journals, which are Scopus journals,
Uh-huh.
can we as a reviewer also publish in similar journals?
You can publish, no doubt about it. Why should you not? Your articles would get reviewed by someone else, and maybe probably, yeah, you would benefit by that. But then ensure that the journal is in the UGC care list, and yes, it's in the better quartile, so that
Yeah.
you have a better prospectus in your career.
Okay. Sir. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
thank you. Hmm.
So we have another questions in the chat box from
Yes, Terence Rodrigues. Do journals object to the use of artificial intelligence assistance in articles? Uh, well, the responsibility of artificial intelligence output is yours. You can't say that it is done by the AI has co-authored you. No, it is your responsibility. You will be responsible for that. That's one thing. This particular technology has come in a very big way in last year only. Okay, and then yes, there are some good tools that you can use to paraphrase. Probably you can use for summarization, etc., etc. But then please don't use ChatGPT at this point of time to ask ChatGPT to write article for you, and then you author it and then submit it to the journal. Okay, there are experiences that have identified that ChatGPT writes an article and then cites some articles which are never been published earlier. Okay, so that is kind of artificial intelligence tools that are available today. Probably, this is what I'm saying today. Probably 4 or 5 years down time, probably the days would change. Yes, of course, yes. Those tools would be really handy to the authors. But then what I would say is this, that the authors should use these tools to make their own content rather than depending on tools for 100% and then just changing the name of an author and getting credits out of it. No, that's something unethical. You might get into the problems because you don't know, you have not worked on those results. So yes, be careful, be careful. To be very specific to your question, yes, you asked, do the journals object? Well, the journals probably at this point of time may not understand that you have used ChatGPT, okay, or some other artificial intelligence tool. Okay, but and then they would consider that it is your responsibility. You have another question. Is it required to state to journals that AI assistance is used? You should not. You should not. You should not. It is you take the responsibility of the content that has been added to your manuscript. That's what it is. Well, there are different tools that you have used. In case if you want to say, maybe probably you would say in the acknowledgements, but then I don't know. I don't know what kind of reaction would be there from the reviewer. Maybe probably the review process would get longer. Probably. I have no such experience on this as yet. I'm not done.
So I had a question myself.
Yes,
Uh,
sir.
Sir, what happens to the people have the people have made this sites and are publishing and cloning journals and everything like that. So once it
Yes.
comes out, yeah.
Yes, yes. If you have already published your articles in such clone journals or predatory journals, and then if you stand to claim that yes, when the journal that time the journal was in the whitelist, that's the UGC-CARE list, so you should be given due credits for that. Okay, if it is a journal that you have published in the clone journal, not the real journal, you will certainly not get credits 100%. But then, if you have accidentally published in a predatory journal, which is there in the list, white lists, then the matter comes up for the discussion. Okay, you will certainly get the credits for the first level, but then when second time when you go for the interviews for your assessment, promotion, etc., maybe probably you will be looked differently because you have published I mean, I'm sorry, I'm saying you, if the author has published in predatory journals, we don't know how the committee would take a stand as, because the committee can say that okay, this is a faculty member who should understand what's the difference between a predatory journal and a real journal, and he or she should have kept himself or herself away from this.
And so what happens to those the journal you gave the example of the China technology? They are doing it. They have already got into Scopus. You said using another journal. So what happened to those people who are doing who are making people fools? Yeah.
Professor Naik, actually, the examples that I showed you on my slide, they have not been studied by myself. I mean, I'm not searching for those cloned and predatory journals. The researchers ask me that whether this is something, and they look at that particular journal with a doubt. Okay, so that journal, somebody from Goa University only had submitted an article. Okay, and then when the article, when she received a response saying that yes, the article is accepted, and then pay so much, and then she asked me, can you examine this? So I mentioned that we always have two minds. Okay, we our inner mind does tell us that we are doing something wrong, but then the other mind says that yeah, it's okay, it's fine, it's there in the list. We will always look at the positive aspects of that, and then we get into the trap. So we know, we individuals, we certainly know that what are we doing. Okay, there are very few such cases that there is an accidentally you have fallen into the trap. No, you are aware that you are falling in the trap, but then you say that okay, we will see it only when we get exposed to. So please be careful, and you might burn your fingers.
So there's another question by Yogeshwar Joshi in the chat box. I'll read it out to you.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, sir, for the wonderful lecture. I am informed that there are certain Marathi language journals on philosophy in UGC-CARE List 1. But when I go to the link given in the care list, there is no proper information given there. How do we reach out to such matters? As a researcher, I sometimes feel I should try to write in my mother tongue, but not having proper information is a bit discouraging. The question is about finding out and then doing research in mother tongue. How can we navigate paths in such cases?
Now, if if the kind of information that exists on UGC care list is incomplete, probably you might like to contact to the UGC care for getting the legitimate contact addresses of the journals. But then I'm pretty sure that UGC care has provided the postal address or the other what you call contact addresses on their website for such things. However, However, uh, uh, yeah, I would like to add that there are hardly any journals in Marathi language. I'm a Marathi language speaker. My mother tongue is Marathi. Hardly any Marathi journals which are there on digital platforms on internet. Okay, so probably those journals are only in print form. Okay, and then yes, you will have to make correspondence with those journals only over there. Probably if you have the email address or on the postal address, there is no other way that you can do anything with that. But if you still find something is short over the UGC care list for the complete contact to the, yeah, you can certainly write to the UGC care for the details. And then, yeah, my response, my what you call queries to UGC care, they respond very promptly. So probably you should also receive prompt responses from there.
So we have another question in the chat box from
Yes.
Dr. Gitanjali Acharekar. Uh, the question, I'll read out the question.
Yeah.
If a journal was in UGC list in 2019 and one has publication, but now it is discontinued, will the publication be counted now?
I already responded to this. First thing is this. Yes, let me clarify one more thing. If the journal was in the UGC list and not UGC care list, okay, in 2019 UGC care, mid of 2019 UGC care list came in place. Okay, before that there was a UGC list. If I am correct, it was until February 2019. Okay, but then if you have published based on that UGC list, no, UGC care does not. And the UGC has declared that they would consider only those journals that are in the list of UGC care. Okay, and UGC list is no more considered. So you have burnt your fingers, to be very frank, if you have published your article in that in predatory journal.
So there is another question by our dean, Dr. Koshi Tarakan.
Yes,
I'll read out the question.
yes.
Academically, what is the distinction between articles in Scopus categories like journal and book series?
Yes, they uh, well, books in series do not get published at a definite frequency, whereas the journal does publish their issues and volumes at definite frequency. That is one distinction I can make out as such. But then basically, the database itself has defined that whether that particular item that is listed there is a journal or it's a book in series. Is that okay, Professor Koshi? Yeah. Yeah, okay, okay, fine, that's fine. Yes, Professor Gitanjali has come back again and she says that it is a UGC-CARE list. Yeah, if that is UGC-CARE list, and then if you have published your article in the journal that was there in the list, yes, it will be considered. It will be considered at the first filter. But then, as I mentioned, when you go for interview or something like that, we don't know how the committee will look at you. Okay, maybe probably the committee is kind and yes, they consider you because that journal was there at that time in the list. But then, if but then that journal was there at that time in the list. Uh, they will consider only sympathetically. Okay, I'm sure, because there, if there is a competition, they will say, okay, the ex participant, ex member or ex faculty member has published in good journals, and this particular person has published in a journal which has now been discontinued. Okay, so why should we give equal status to this particular publication? That might be the case, but then this is it is interview. Okay, it's interview. It depends on the views of the individuals there. But then yes, at the first level of filter, your case will be considered. And yes, they will say that yes, published in a journal that is legitimate, and then it was there in the UGC-CARE list when you published, and then yeah, you will get in the first filter straight away.
So we'll take one last question. Yogeshwar Joshi has put a question in the chat box. He asks, is translation work considered as legitimate research work?
It depends on the organization that you work, but then I don't think it is a research. Well, it's my personal view. The translation work can be it's a different scenario. You would get credits for translation in different way, but not at this place, certainly not. That's what my view. Um,
Thank you so much, sir. If
Professor
anyone
Professor Koshi has asked some question. Can we take that? What is it? UGC Group 2 has three
has,
sources: Web of
I'll read
Science.
out the question, sir.
Yeah.
1, Web of Science Core. 2, Scopus. 3, MLA. Am I right? I have asked the question because GU we do not talk much about MLA.
Yes, yes, Professor Koshi. I also removed my slides for the size of my presentation over here for the MLA, thinking that, yeah, there are only participants from the philosophy department and or the philosophy subject areas. But then the UGC CARE itself says that there is a note below MLA saying that most of the journals that are there in the MLA list, they are part of the Scopus or Web of Science. That's one thing. So you can always bank upon the Scopus or Web of Science lists as such. That's one thing. But then still, if you want to check what is in the MLA list, you can click that link and then you will get a full list of MLA journals which is maintained by UGC-CARE server, because on the MLA website, Modern Language Association website, that list is open only for the members of MLA. It's not open for others. So but then UGC-CARE is doing that and it is listed there. The only thing that I feel about MLA list and Group 1 list is this, that when the lists come out, you don't have any quality criteria to make a decision whether X journal is good or Y journal is good for you. Okay, it's based on your experience, then only you can think about, okay, that's the risk that you would take. If you happen to publish in this journal that is there in MLA as well as Scopus or Web of Science, yeah, you get some quality criteria and you can always claim that you published in a journal that is in the quartile so and so, or having site score or impact factor so and so. So that is what I thought. Professor Terence Rodriguez, you are saying that Retraction Watch is also doing useful work at international level to trace dubious articles, but this has nothing to do with today's topic, so I would not say anything. Does it then impact the journal if article retraction is done? No, I don't know. Yes, most of the retractions are done from the good journals only, in fact. Okay, and it doesn't impact. In fact, it raises the standard of, I would say, that journal, because that journal is strict with its content. By accident, it published that article, but it retracted. That's it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. As
Professor
we are
Akash
out of
Naik,
time.
Professor
Yeah.
Akash Naik, if there are, if you permit me, now people are asking questions. So let me, Sagar Yadav has asked something. Can
Okay, sir.
I
I'll
go
read
ahead,
out the
or
question. I'll
you
read
want
out
to?
the question, sir.
Yes.
Why is there a significant focus on publishing? Does that imply that our 5 years of research are futile unless you publish your work somewhere?
Yes. The deliveries are measured in kind. Okay, they would, you can't say that, oh, you sweated, you collected so much of data, you did so much of analysis, but then if it is not available to the public platform, somewhere in the public, yeah, in the research arena, publications are valued very, very high. Yes, that's the one, and maybe probably I can say patents, but then that's not probably very close to the participants of this particular program. But then the publications is something extremely important. You have to show your output in the form of publications, then only there is it is a quantified information. It is easy to say, and see, if you say that, yeah, you take classes and then 4 classes a day and all that, so yeah, those services get counted in your annual performance appraisal. But then if your productivity is measured only in terms of publications and patents. And yes, that's something very, very important. There is another tool that is available today, and it has come up in the last decade, and it is called attention score. If you are doing some wonderful research and then you have published that somewhere, so again, publication is important, and then if it is caught an attention of the society, that is social media, Wikipedia, policymakers and all that, if it is getting discussed on internet, yeah, that work is considered very valuable than the citations as well, because for your research article it will take some time for the citations, but then immediately your that particular attention, your article gets what you call noticed by the society, and they start discussing on that. So that's so it's the publication is yes. There's no other way that you can avoid publish.
Thank you so much, sir. If there are any more questions, please see the contact details, email and contact details of sir in the presentation slide, as well as posted in the chat box. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dipanki. Back to you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
May I
Please
Now
leave?
take
I'm,
over, Dipanki.
now I'm requesting Sanket to propose the vote of thanks.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Oh, thank you, sir. First and foremost, I would like to express our sincere appreciation to our esteemed speaker, Dr. Tapaswi, for his valuable insights and expertise. The enlightening presentation has certainly enriched our knowledge and inspired us to choose the right journal for our publication. We are also deeply grateful to Professor Koshi Tharakan, the Dean of our school, for the constant support and encouragement. A special thanks to all the faculty members of the school for their contribution for organizing this webinar. To all the research scholars and students at SSPIS, your active participation and enthusiasm have truly made this event meaningful and engaging. We would also like to extend our thanks to all the participants, both from and within and outside Goa University. Your presence has enriched and the discussions have contributed to the overall success of the webinar. Last but not the least, a big thank you to everyone who helped to promote the event and ensure its reach to a wider audience. Thank you.
Thank you for the interaction and an opportunity to share my ideas with you, and look forward continued interaction over the mail or WhatsApp. Yeah, I would respond you. I learn from you. In fact, I learn from you. Okay. Thanks a lot.